Chill. Yeah, I ain't even on all that today. Chill. I just came up here to talk basketball with my good friends and discuss what really happened in Game 4 and over this series. In case you don't know, the Indiana Pacers are now up 3-1 on the New York Knicks. They won by a score of 130 to 121 last night. Thoughts? What's good, Jay?
What's going on, y'all, man? What's going
on? Good.
What up, black people?
My boy rubbing his hands together, Birdman hand rub.
Well, I want to
too.
I'm gonna start this segment off as the person who is chill. As somebody who's been here, Jay, you have not been here consistently, but you're my dog, and I hope you're on here more. Could you talk good basketball? Now that guy, not so much. Shout out to my dog though. I have been chill high on the Pacers since when?
January.
Yeah, so for some months, and I told y'all
January.
that this is the direction they could be headed in for a reason, man. They're a great team. Hali is like that. You also chill because I mentioned this in the group chat last night. Chill, do you remember when we did the draft? Like, what was that? Like October, November last year, where we did
October, right before the season started.
We did a nice team, like a little team put together, and then people said that Tyrese Haliburton wasn't a star, and so I got to draft him as my sixth man on my team, and people were like, "Man, Hali's not this and that. He sucks. Like wooty woo. He doesn't do this and that." And then here we go, like Hali with maybe at least a top 3 game in the playoffs, Joe. I would argue at least a top 3 game in the playoff. But he had Joel's team looking around in circles, trying to figure out how to cover that man. The jump shooting, the driving, the playmaking. Hali's defense in the playoffs has been good too. He's doing his job. He's not a standalone defender, but he's doing the job. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. That's a great performance. Cannot wait to see my Pacers in the finals. It's coming up real soon. I cannot wait to see this. It's gonna be a great day. Shout out Obi Toppin, by the way, chill. My goodness, you want to talk about leaving a bum franchise with those New York Knicks and getting to the Indiana Pacers and turning up? But Joe, why you look so downtrodden today, my bro?
One man,
where's your smile at?
Joel, I've been around this dude for a while, so the troll alert is on high right now. So relax, brother. Don't. We'll get back to basketball in a second, but I want to discuss one person in particular, and this is the guy that I want to discuss in particular. And the reason why I want to talk about him. Let me tell you why I want to talk about him, Joe. Because my man right here, they in the driver's seat. My man is shook. My man is not really as confident as he look right now. My man is shook. He's not
about
really sure about what's going on right now with this Knicks Pacers series. My man is shook right now.
It's over, chill. What you talking about? It's done.
You don't think it's over?
They're done for.
It's not over?
Just saying.
It's not over too?
I'm just saying. I'm here for Game 7. That's all I gotta say.
Game 7.
I'm here for Game 7. But anyway, I'm going to start the conversation. Right? I'm going to start the conversation by saying there's a difference between building your unit to beat the NBA champ and building your unit to win the NBA championship. And I think the Knicks built their unit to beat the NBA champion. I don't think that they built their unit to win the NBA championship. And this Indiana series is evidence of that. I think that with them going up against the Celtics, they banked on the Celtics' variance of the long ball working in their favor. And it did. They didn't bank on things that are constant, like transition offense, being physical, rebounding, half-court offense, even if it's chaotic, but still being steady. They didn't bank on any of that. I mean, they gave up 43 points in the first quarter yesterday of an Eastern Conference Finals possible elimination game. Possible. They gave up 43 points. Indiana had control of that game, even though the Knicks cut it to tie the game. They cut it to 2. I didn't feel like at any point that Indiana was not in control of that game. They did a terrible job in slowing down the Indiana Pacers consistently. The Pacers played exactly the way that they wanted to play and had the game exactly the way that they wanted to have it. 127, 120, 121, 130, something like that. Because if the Indiana Pacers are playing that way, that means the game is wide open. That means that they're getting what they want in transition. That means that they're running the Knicks into the ground, and their rotation guys who haven't been used aren't really as cohesive as Indiana's transition guys or rotation guys who have been used all season, and it played right into Indiana's hands, right into their hands. So when I think about how the New York Knicks were built, I think the Knicks were built to beat the Boston Celtics. I don't think that they were built to win the NBA championship.
My thing with
Joel,
okay,
as the supreme Knicks fan up here, we got to know your thoughts and feelings right now.
I hate Tom Thibodeau. I think that's the first thing that I'm going to. The Pacers aren't those victories. We would be sitting here 2-2 had we not had an epic choke job, but you could say the Pacers choked game 3, so it's all fair. I think Tom Thibodeau's lineups were terrible. They were brutal. There's no point in benching Josh Hart if he's going to play 36 minutes in the game anyway. It just made no sense. And the Knicks old starting five, had been their worst lineup in this series with Josh Hart, OG, Mikal, Cat, and Brunson. So for Thibs to lean on that, I thought was ridiculous. And once Cat got hurt and he was holding his knee, he couldn't jump up for rebounds. And I thought that was a great situation to put Mitchell Robinson back in the game. I don't know why the hell Landry Shamet was closing over Deuce McBride when Deuce McBride had been the spark the entire series for us. I just feel like the Knicks, they're in a tough situation right now because you have two players who are offensive-oriented superstars who don't play defense. That's Brunson and Cat. Brunson more so, not because he doesn't try, just because he's undersized and he's going to be a liability on that end anyway. Cat is just a straight-up liability. He can't guard in space at all. And simultaneously, this team doesn't have much toughness at all. Last year's team had so much more toughness with Hartenstein, with Dante DiVincenzo. I feel like these players shrink in the biggest moments. Mikal Bridges is not somebody that plays tough, and he was settling for mid-range jump shots that turnaround fadeaway he had.
Hey, Joe, I'm not trying to hear this shit. You was talking all that shit before the series and when y'all was winning. I'm not trying to hear that shit from you, Joe. Your boys, when y'all won game 3 or when y'all beat the Celtics, y'all was in the Eastern Conference Championship. This was the parade, and we going to the finals. We doing it. I'm getting the Knicks tattooed on my arm. Joe, I ain't hearing that shit from you, yo. I'm not. That same energy that you had for your Knicks when y'all won game 3, the same energy that you have from now all of a sudden y'all soft. No, y'all not soft. Y'all just getting your ass kicked by a better team. Don't do that.
It's not the same energy because we lost.
I'm not trying to hear that shit from you, Joe.
I'm not going to keep the same energy because we lost. It's simple as that.
Right.
And we lost because the Knicks don't play hard.
No, that's not why you lost. You lost because this Indiana team is better than you.
You killing me.
They're better than you at what they do, Joe. We ain't doing that. No, Joe.
The Pacers are a great team. At the same time, is Rick Carlisle a much better coach than Thibs? Did he press more right buttons than Thibs in this series? Yes. Benching Thomas Bryant, he did it early. And Tony Bradley, nobody knew about him. Nobody saw him coming. And him coming into the game offered them size and physicality. Sure. And those same adjustments Thibs did not make. He stuck to the same stubborn lineups that were terrible the entirety of the series.
No, he didn't, Joe.
You just said he put Landry Shamet in the game, though.
Landry Shamet was awful.
But who else you going to off your bench?
The best lineup that the Knicks had was Brunson, Deuce, Mikal, OG, and Mitch. That was the best lineup statistically. The double big lineup that we benched Josh Hart for before game 3, that was an awful lineup. They were terrible in their minutes together. And in game 3, they were a -1 on the court. And in game 4, that was statistically the worst lineup because the double big lineup cannot guard in space. I thought Thibs in game 3 was awesome down the stretch in coaching that game, because if you remember, Cat had it going offensively, and instead of putting Jalen Brunson back in the game, they said, no, I'm gonna lean with this defensive oriented lineup and I'm gonna let Cat do his thing. And it wasn't until the final 2 minutes where Jalen Brunson came back into the game. But I thought Thibs pressed the right buttons in those situations. To close out the game with Josh Hart playing as much as he did, I thought was ridiculous. Josh Hart has not been good these entire playoffs.
But he's closed out games for you and you've won. He's done that though. Not only has Josh
Hart's done what?
Not only has Josh Hart closed out games when you've won, That's the lineup that he's always been going with. And
it's not a good lineup.
But you've won with it. And to Thibs' credit,
Well, you talking about the starters? You talking about the cat with Miles and point
I'm talking about the starters with Josh Hart in the game. We've won in spite of that. He's been a clear negative to the spacing of the team, and he has not been a good defender. He had 2 good moments in game 3 with the big rebound he came down with and the 2 free throws, but he has not done nothing this entire
but that's
playoff.
not true though. He in that game 3, he helped win you the game because y'all ran the rotation of Miles, Hart, Mikal, and OG with Cat, and then they were making rotations defensively down the last 4 minutes of that game.
It makes
in part
sense
because of what he was doing.
It makes sense if you're going with a defensive slanted lineup, and that was a defensive slanted lineup, but you cannot have Brunson, Hart, and Cat all at the same time because Brunson and Cat are defensive liabilities, and you're not maximizing Cat at the 5 because when Hart's on the floor, he doesn't space the floor. You cannot run a true 5-out offense. So I feel like Hart limits the offense, and then with Cat and Brunson, the defense is already going to be limited.
This is crazy. That I've never heard this from you before. So essentially, what it sounds like you telling me is you've never really liked Josh Hart in your lineup as a starter. You've never liked him.
No, I like Josh Hart and the toughness that he brings. I think he's more of a 6-man. That's it. I think Josh Hart. Josh Hart. I think he's more of a 6-man for us. I think he'd be better in that role. I think this series was the least amount of toughness that I've seen Josh Hart play with, in my opinion. I know what I've seen from Josh Hart last year. Yep. I know the energy that he brings. I feel like when he got benched, he kind of got disengaged a little bit in terms of how he plays with on the court. I feel like OG Anunoby, he is very silent and methodical, but he doesn't really put his will on games in that manner. I just feel like the real difference with the Pacers and Knicks is we saw 2 teams that offensive styles couldn't be different than each other. We saw how a team led by a score-first point guard operates on offense and how a team led by a pure pass-first point guard operates with Haliburton. But Joel, this is not to say one is better than the other, but this is to say that Tyrese Haliburton can always uptick his aggression and score, and he does that in closeout games. Right. But for the most part, he's always looking to get his teammates involved first, and that helps everybody's rhythm. 15 assists, 0 turnovers. He had a special performance, and the Knicks' only hope of winning this series was to have the best player in the series in Jalen Brunson, but he has not been performing at that level. In the
why would that be the solution versus a team like this? And I think this is actually speaking to Joel why I think the Pacers were just outright better than the Knicks in total. Jalen Brunson could have been the best player in the series, and you still would have gotten smoked 3-1, or even been down. Maybe I picked it 4-2 Pacers. The issue with the Pacers is they shot hunt, and Joel, you obviously been watching this now for a full series, and Ron for the last 2 months you've seen this, and then obviously Ox and everything. We watched them all year. They shot hunt the very best shot on every single possession, Joel. Every possession. So whether it's layups or dunks, or if they get a 3, they're creating more open 3s. They create advantages every single possession. And as you've seen, Joel, when a team works on the string like that, they start connecting as shot makers in ways that is nobody else in the NBA is doing right now. Neesmith gets it going. All of a sudden, Opie Toppin gets it going. Hali gets it going. Next thing you know, you're getting Benny Mathurin shooting fadeaway corner 3s because he's feeling comfortable with the system. Miles Turner will have his moments. Everybody in their rotation, including Ox's guy, TJ McConnell, they all believe in what Rick Carlisle is doing. Yeah. They believe in the system that's in place. And when the Knicks, when they get in these situations versus the Knicks, they're not afraid of them at all because it doesn't matter. We know what you're going to do. Jalen Brunson going to hunt for ISOs. He's going to try to win us the game at the end of the 4th quarter. But whereas them, they're playing ball as a team.
And why is that though, Swiper?
Go ahead.
To your point, Swiper. But why is that? Because the reason why I'm asking you that is because Coach, he consistently plays 9-10 guys all year long. That's happened. So now Thibs comes with the lineup of Wright, Hart, Shamet, Miles, and Mitch Robinson. Well, I haven't seen that lineup all year long. I'll be lying if I said I saw that lineup. There's a level of trust that these guys have for Coach. In addition to them having that level of trust for Coach, they know for a fact, running with Haliburton, he's going to get me involved in the game. So when you have that kind of stuff going on, why would we not be more cohesive than the Knicks?
Well, they play a different play style than the Knicks though, all the way around.
Well, I mean, what you're saying, OG, though, is fair. I mean, Tom Thibodeau, the first time he ever played Landry Shamet, Deuce McBride, and DeLon Wright in the lineup was in the playoffs. It was in Game 3. I mean, we haven't tapped into our bench at all, and then in the biggest stage, we're just expecting these guys to come in and give us valuable minutes, which, to their credit, they did. They played well. But the Pacers have had an entire season to see what their role players give them on a night-to-night basis. And the way that you're talking and describing the offensive differences, Swiper, it has a lot to do with the coaches, but it's also the players and the play style leading the ship. Tyrese Haliburton is vastly underrated in the way that he makes quick passes, quick decision-making. He dissects the defense, and his number one job is to get everybody flowing in the offense. Jalen Brunson, he can take over games as a scorer, but he also gets everybody out of rhythm when he hunts his shot because his mentality isn't going into it. Let me get Cat in rhythm. Let me get Mikal in rhythm. Let me get OG in rhythm. It's let me get this screen. Let me get this mismatch and let me go get my bucket. And we see the two different mentalities and how these offenses play where Haliburton can uptake that scoring aggression, but for the most part, everybody on the Pacers is always in rhythm because he's making sure they are. And that's the difference between a pure playmaker and a pure scorer leading your offense.
Yeah, the two styles of play are way different. And I think Tom Thibodeau should be embarrassed with his coaching performance right now. I want to know who was he blackmailed to still be coaching that team.
You
right
think
now.
Rick Carlisle coaching circles around him right now?
Absolutely.
It's not chill. It's not even close. And you know what? I want to say this right now in front of everybody. You know, this is 2 days back to back. I got to do this. But this is all about Rick Carlisle for me real quick. I want to apologize because I allowed my hatred for Rick Carlisle over a completely emotional situation with Rajon Rondo, you know, some years ago. I allowed that to cloud my judgment and just hate Rick Carlisle forever instead of me accepting the fact that he's coaching some really good basketball. You know what I mean? He's as a coach, you know what I'm saying, you got to give him credit. Like I can't sit here and be like, oh, Rick Carlisle, because that would just be ignorant. The team, the style of basketball they're playing is, you know, it's nice. It's beautiful. Chill. We talked about this before, Chill, on Saturday. On Chill with Chill, which comes on at noon Eastern every Saturday.
4 o'clock on Thursdays too, by the way.
Yes, we talked about this, and I was saying, Chill, I had to look myself in the mirror and come to and figure something out. Like, what's going on? Because this is everything you love about basketball. You know what I'm saying? Not a whole bunch of big egos. You know what I'm saying? Team basketball. Physical, aggressive basketball, play defense, move the ball around. I can't find anything I don't like about their style of basketball until they, you know, get the chucking and whatnot. But Rick Carlisle's doing this thing, and Tom Thibodeau needs to take notes. If he's coming back next year to coach this team, he needs to take notes because I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I personally do still believe that this Knicks team, talent-wise, skill-wise, player for player, is better than this Indiana team.
No,
I think you don't have to agree. That's fine.
There's no way you're still this delusional.
Player for
It's
players.
no way.
Ron, it doesn't. But
There's
Ron,
no way that you are this
Ron, that
delusional.
doesn't. Ron, it's not about delusion. That does not. That hold on,
Right.
bro. Because that does not matter. When we talk, we know when we
So
talk
now
about
it's Thibodeau's fault. Now they're just not getting their ass kicked on the court.
100%.
Aside
They
from
are.
Cat,
Ron,
the
just
Pacers
hold on,
have
bro.
won every single matchup.
The Pacers are the better
Cat-
team.
Hey,
Talent-
and Cat was getting his big ass kick last night too.
Yeah, but talent for talent.
Every single matchup they lost.
To Ox's point, talent for talent. If you think about Cat is better than Turner, right? Not only is Cat is better than Turner.
And then after that, Chill.
In a
No, it's not.
every
Miles Bridges is better than Neesmith. Mikal Bridges is better
He
than
don't
Neesmith.
look like it.
But he is
He don't
better.
look like it.
We're talking about talent, Ron. That's what we're talking about right now.
I'm not talking about talent. I'm talking about what I've been seeing.
But why does
Neesmith is shot better? He's played better defense. He's guarding the best scorer in the series. And
why does Aaron Neesmith play better? Why does Aaron Neesmith play better than Mikal? Is it because he's a more talented player, or is it because he's playing with more heart?
It's the play style.
No, well, I feel like heart is a very interesting word to throw here. I think we don't know how much more heart someone's playing with. For me personally, I think that the issue is
not navigating screens at all. He's not playing physical.
He did that game 3 though. He did do that game 3. That's why they won. Because him and Hart were navigating those screens, and they weren't giving up.
The Knicks brought Mikal Bridges in to their team to be a point of attack defender, to live for matchups like this.
Sure,
he's gotten cooked in this matchup.
Yep.
Bad. They can take him out of any play with a screen. I think Aaron Nesmith, there's a certain aspect of basketball when you just have players who play on the court, who lay it out more on the court. And Aaron Nesmith has taken that Brunson assignment, has guarded him full court, is diving for loose balls, is being a pesky defender, is hitting shots, is driving to the basket. Benedict Mathurin, he wasn't playing much in this series. And Mathurin, how many free throws did he shoot? Double-digit free throws? That's just me getting to the basket, and I just want to penetrate this defense more than you. The Knicks don't have anybody but Jalen Brunson who consistently shows that level of offensive aggression. Cat did it in the fourth quarter of game 3, but Cat, he can kind of flow away from games sometimes and really doesn't insert his will on games.
But you have two all.
Yeah, but they're not playing no basketball. That's what I was just trying to say a moment ago. The Knicks, they play that. When you just allow Jalen Brunson to do everything you were just explaining earlier, Joe, you can't consistently have good offense. Like, that's just not realistic. And then so you try that, and then you're like, okay, Cat, your turn. That's just not good basketball. So the games that they were winning before, that was just grit and grind, getting it done, make it happen without still playing a good brand of basketball. They ran into this team, and that just didn't work against them. I think that's a coaching problem. Once again, I'll say it again. I believe that the Knicks, if not here, they're here as far as player for player who's a better basketball player. I think they're just a step ahead, right? And so when I see a team that I feel has inferior talent destroying a team that I think has superior talent, the only place I can look is the bench. What's happening? Like coach, what's going on? I don't think Thibodeau is I don't think he got it up there with the X's and O's, whatever. I don't know if he needs to get somebody else on his staff to help him get that offense flowing. But the offense is doesn't look good. That's all.
Is this a choke job from the Knicks?
No.
Game one is it's the ass whooping. It ain't a choke job. It's the ass.
Game one is
the better, deeper team with all the momentum behind them. Who has been better since January. I think the Pacers are now, I mean, they were 46-15 up to
40-11 with Haliburton since January.
Yeah, like come on, bro. Like, they're the better team. Like they're just overall the better team. Since Haliburton has been a lower tier MVP player, and by that I mean like a from 6 to 12 or wherever you have him ranked since January. Since he's been that, they have been a dynamic player. And then on top of that, Hali, I think, has been a top 5 arguable playoff player, period. I think that his lows are scoring lows, but his playmaking lows, they're never really low. He just doesn't score a lot, and I think people get tricked by that, thinking that he's not being aggressive. The issue is Haliburton doesn't force the issue. Like Haliburton, he might miss shots every so often, but what he doesn't do, he doesn't overforce the issue because he realizes that the more advantages he creates for the Pacers, the better the Pacers are going to play. And then on top of that, when his scoring gets to where it was last night, but also, we also talked about this, the Knicks with Brunson and Cat were always going to be a problem versus the team like this. This is why I cook Ron about that Brook Lopez point. Because if you put Brook Lopez in a situation versus the Pacers team, you're going to get fried.
He's getting killed.
And then on now, you got Cat and you got Brunson. They're trying to hide 2 players in their starting lineup, chill. 2 of them versus a team that's constantly hunting for mismatches in the best shot possible. They're just a better basketball team, and I think they're a better coached basketball team too. Go ahead.
Siakam needs some credit.
Siakam been crazy.
Point, and I was just about to get there. But right quick, before I get to Siakam, Swipe, on that point though, that's also why I'm just like, there's no way you could think that this team's more talented. We're not. If you're just looking on the offensive end, cool. But you the main one to say you got to play 2 sides of the defense.
So that's where McKellen OG come in. That's not what I'm doing at all.
They have a short cone, and then they have a big ass cone, and it's just like, how can you? But see, and this is what I was trying to tell you. OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, they can't possibly cover up every single hole on this defense. As two wing defenders, you can't do that. Now, if it was, I could see if one of them was like a Rudy Gobert or something, where you could just plug him in the middle of the paint and I can anchor a defense. Okay, potentially. But OG Anunoby can't anchor. It's not like football where I can put one of you guys on the left side of the field and the other one on the right side of the field.
No, Ron, I'm not trying to hear that, Ron. The reason why I'm not trying to hear that is because when you have one of the best transition offenses in the league, and you got, to Ox's point, two of the best perimeter defenders in the
5 players
100%. Okay, I'm not going to argue that, and I'm not going to
one-on-one defenders.
Yes, I'm not going to argue that point.
They're not Draymond.
And I'm not going to argue that point, Ron. The point that I'm arguing is
they can't anchor a defense.
No doubt. Here's the point that I'm arguing, Ron. The point that I'm arguing is if this Indiana team, the transition team that they are, where does that start? With Tyrese Haliburton. If you got not one, but the two best perimeter defenders in the game, why isn't one of them dudes slowing him down?
Okay, one of them slows him down. He comes off the ball. Then what?
Like if he comes off the ball, and a large amount of what they do is on the perimeter.
But I'm saying
once transition and it's on the perimeter. A large amount of that is. So if I'm slowing down, if I'm biting, if I'm basically cutting off the head of the snake, which is Tyrese Haliburton, I'm slowing down their offense. And then we get these games 105, 98. That's when the Knicks have the best opportunity to win. But when they're at 128, 121, that's because Tyrese Haliburton has all the vision in the world. What I look at it as, Ron, is I look at it as a quarterback who's just able to sit in the pocket and throw all night. If I can sit in the pocket and throw all night, then I'm going to pick you guys apart. If Tyrese Haliburton is coming up the floor and he's not really guarded in transition, he's getting whatever he wants. Ron, the dude had 0 turnovers yesterday. Not
well, I
one.
mean, this isn't new though. Like this is Haliburton does this. Like Chill, you already know 20 and 10 games with 0 turnovers. He has the most in history. John Stockton, Jason Kidd, correct. Magic Johnson, they all on the list.
He does that wrong, but 30, 15, and 12, nobody does that.
Well, I mean, Chill is right. It was like a quarterback that just sat in the pocket and got no blitz, but also too, or didn't get blitzed, but also too, sometimes when I can read the defense quick, when I'm making those quick reads, I'm not allowing you to be able to get no pressure on me because I'm dropping back and the ball's getting out of my hands quick. That's how Haliburton is. He don't give you an opportunity to get to him. Yeah. And that's why that offense is so efficient. He's just
one-on-one. He's not playing.
He's like the perfect quarterback where we just making shit happen quick.
But that's what makes him special.
Yeah, no matter how good your defenders are and your defense is, if he's playing with that level of pace, it's gonna offset that. They could pick him up, but if he beats him down the court, if he comes off a pick, there's nothing that they can do because now Cat is in the play, and now they have to play in rotation. And we've seen throughout this whole series, bro, when Cat is in open space, he doesn't know what the hell to do. He looks crazy out there when he's in open space, especially with Haliburton.
I will say that the game 3, I noticed. I don't know if I talked about this here or not. I think it was just locked on. But what Thibs did do though, Thibs has coached, and in game 3, what they did do, they were hiding Karl Anthony Towns in the pick and roll. But that wasn't just about Karl and the initial pick and roll action. It's about the coverages behind Karl because they were getting beat to the corners a lot. Yep. So what Thibs did, Chill, is that he had them play like a ice. But then what he did, he brought a third defender over. He brought the third defender over, which was Miles McBride at the time. And that way, if they ran if Hali ran a pick and roll middle, and then then he had a pick and roll off his left, and he came down right. Remember, he hit 1 3 in that game. Then he had another one where he missed it. But what Thibs did is he brought Miles McBride over as the third defender, and that way they would just switch, and then that way you get Karl out the action altogether. But what happened is Rick Carlisle, to Ox's point, countered the chess move by then they set a back screen. Whoever the third defender was, the third defender's man, whoever Miles was guarding, set a back screen for Karl Anthony Towns, and that's when they started getting the dive off Miles Turner down to the rim. So they have both been coaching a lot and doing well. The issue is you can't do that consistently when you have 2 negatives on the floor defensively, because all that's going to happen is we're going to keep making adjustments, and because you're in rotation so much, you're eventually going to get burned. And on the other end, as Joel's noted, their offense isn't what it needs to be when you are playing that kind of coverage because they can't score consistently outside of 2 players. And really, I know Mikal was trying yesterday in the third as well, like in the second half, trying to hit those threes. So they got close enough, man. But like, I just think it's so difficult to win a series like that, Joel. And when you have to constantly cover for other players and the other team is just playing at will. Like they're doing whatever they want on the other end. It's really hard to beat a team like that.
I mean, there's multiple things that the Pacers are doing better in that they've done better all year long, even coming to the series. They play in transition better. They play with faster pace, and they have much more bench players who can produce. TJ McConnell, there's been multiple stretches in this series where he just comes in and scores multiple baskets in a row, and he just looks unguardable, and he keeps them afloat. Game 4 was the anomaly. I thought that they were very terrible when Haliburton was off the court, and there was a reason why Rick Carlisle put him back in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes left, because he didn't want the game to get out of hand or the Knicks to make a comeback, and Haliburton came in the game, and then he was very clutch. But I just want to push back against the narrative that this series wasn't close. Every game has been close, and the Pacers have out-edged the Knicks in clutch time. That's been the difference.
Close as gentlemen.
This should be a 2-2 series right now. Game 1 was
it could also be a 4-0 sweep too.
I mean, I guess so. You can say that too. You can say multiple things.
Yes.
Game 1 was a historic level choke, and Jalen Brunson was awful in the fourth quarter and in overtime. I thought that OG Anunoby also cost us with him trying to go up and the challenge and it not being a foul. It led to the Pacers ball. I thought the clock management was awful in Brunson in game 1. There was 34 seconds left on the clock, 22 seconds left on the shot clock. And instead of dribbling that clock out, up 5 points, he passed it to OG, and OG went up with the shot, and it gave Indiana so much more time to get up a shot on the other end and cut down the lead. Game 2 was also close. Game 3, we were the ones that made a comeback. But while it was a 20-point comeback, all in all, we were heading into the fourth quarter, I think, under single digits. So it was a methodical cut at the lead. And then game 4 was very close as well. You know, the Pacers have out-clutched us. And the clutch player of the year in Jalen Brunson hasn't been clutch in the moments we need him to be. That was different. In the Boston series, in the Detroit series, he was. And the separator in the series, even with all the advantages that Indiana has, what it came down to was that the Knicks in clutch time, not only could they not get stops, but they couldn't generate consistent enough offense. And that's why I had a problem with Josh Hart being out there, because the starting lineup in the playoffs is a -36. They have a 111 offensive rating. They are not a good offense with Hart, Brunson, Mikal, OG, and Cat. And if you want to live with the defensive liabilities that Brunson and Cat come with, you have to maximize the offense, because you're going to get beat on defense anyway. So there's no point in limiting your offensive ceiling with Hart on the floor. And that's my problem. I thought Thibs lineups in game 3, it was as good of a coaching game as I saw. But in game 4, I just really didn't get the decision of going with Landry Shamet over Deuce McBride. Deuce McBride has been the spark all series long, and Landry Shamet hasn't played all playoffs. And now,
do you think it was the shooting though that he was looking for?
Deuce McBride brings that and better defense. So I just thought that he should have been in the game. But, you know, I don't think we were going to win even if Deuce was in there. I just think it gave us a better chance to win. But yeah, the Pacers have proved that they're the better team. But I do agree with Ox that, you know, some of the Knicks offense is a little bit limited with, you know, how they play and their play style, and the defenses are going to come with its limitations.
There's a different. Rick Carlisle's a championship level coach. He's won a championship. We've seen him. He's a great coach.
Facts.
Tom Thibodeau is not a championship coach. He rides his starters too hard. He's been doing it his whole career. He rides his lineups way too hard throughout the entire season, throughout the entire playoffs. We get to the conference finals, bro, they are dead. Like, you're asking those dudes to do way too much for 82 games, then come to the playoffs, still do that, then get to the conference finals. I need you to still be clutch, still step up, still play defense, do all this stuff. Bro, they are tired. Cat can't play that much defense. Jalen Brunson can't play that much defense. They can't score that much. The Pacers have a deep team, and you're seeing all these people step up. You're seeing Siakam be a star right now. You're seeing Tyrese Haliburton target another level. We haven't even talked about where Haliburton is in the league yet, but he's taking another step. And we're seeing guys off the bench, McConnell, all these players step up. Whereas on the Knicks, it has to be those guys. We know every single game, Brunson has to do this and play at this level or they're not winning. Cat has to do this or they're not winning. Mikal Bridges has to do this or not winning. With the Pacers, it could be anybody. It was Haliburton last night. Siakam last night. It could be Neesmith. It could be Mathurin off the bench. It could be so many different guys because they're a deeper team, but they're well coached. Whereas we see the Knicks, they're just going to stick to their strategy of running their starters into the ground. Even Josh Hart came off the bench, but he still played 36 minutes. Like, he's riding these guys, and they're going to get at the end of the year when we get to if they were to make it to the finals, the same shit's going to happen.
Ron, I got a question for you, Ron, and I'm really interested to hear your response to this. Ron, I want you to take your man, Tyrese Haliburton. I want to drop him in 2003. This dude right here. I want to take Tyrese Haliburton. I want to drop him in 2003. Where does he measure up with those lead guards?
So 2003, what we got? Jason Kidd,
Steve Nash, Steve Francis, Chauncey.
If that was Steve Nash in Dallas, I think Haliburton is better.
Yeah, in 03, this Haliburton's better than Steve Nash.
What about Jake Kidd and Chauncey?
Chauncey Billups.
So
Steve Francis, Marbury.
It's hard to just drop somebody from
Rondo.
Yeah. Maybe is it just 20?
This is why I'm saying it. This is why I'm saying it.
If we're getting this Haliburton in that NBA, he's gonna kill.
That's why I'm saying, and that's why I want to see how he measures up against those other lead guards in Ron's estimation.
And he's 6'5", like he's much bigger than them. Yeah, dominate.
I mean, Chauncey's 6'4".
Chauncey and Jake Kidd were big.
Chauncey's 6'4".
Yeah, Chauncey 6'4", Jason Kidd 6'4", Steve Francis was 6'3", Steve Nash was what 6'2", something like that. Steve Nash wasn't that big, but
I feel like they're gassing some of them heights.
To your estimation, Ron, because again, the lead guard that you're seeing in Haliburton right now, I think that this guy is perfect for what's going on back then. If you drop him and it's 2004, it's 2003, it's 2004, it's 2005, what does he look like matched up against the rest of those lead guards?
Chill. He's in 2003. He's the second best point guard in the NBA behind J. Kidd. He's better. He's better than Jay Will. He's better than Stephon Marbury. He's better in 03. Chauncey hadn't yet jumped into that next
just
tier.
Bringing up a random year,
championship and stuff like that. Chill said 2003.
I just said 2003.
In 2003, Haliburton better than all of those guys. Everybody I just named. Andre Miller.
2003, 4 or 2-3. Which one are we doing?
I'm doing 0203. But we can.
Okay, 0203 was Tracy McGrady and Kobe Bryant first team. Allen
No. We're not talking about them. We're talking about lead guards.
Point guards.
Well, they are. They're. You mean point guard? Just true point guards. Steve Nash, and Stephon Marbury, and Jason Kidd.
Gary Payton was still playing good ball in 03.
Yeah, Gary Payton was. It's an argument for Gary Payton. Gary Payton, he was a little older at that moment.
Baron Davis was also around at that point.
He did.
I'll
tell you
Sam
what.
Cassell was also around at that point.
He might be better, Ron, but man, Mike and Bobby would have had that boy in hell.
Bro, Tyrese plays so janky, he would be, man, he'd kill them, bro. He would kill them. They don't know what to do with that awkward ass game.
I just feel like
he big as hell. He like 6'6".
Now PC's high on Hali, bro. This is crazy, bro.
The point that you're making
a few months ago, bro.
OG is that his play style, Haliburton's, even though it's getting magnified on a big level right now, people are forced to watch it right now. That's what's happening is people are forced to watch Haliburton right now and they see how special he is, and now everybody's kind of collectively acknowledging it. But what you were describing is the fact that he has gotten underrated because he plays in an era that praises volume scoring over true facilitating. Sure. If you put him in the 2000s, we would appreciate Haliburton more. Steve Nash won 2 MVPs, averaging 16 and 10, 16 and 11. He didn't have to average 25 a night for him to win those MVPs. In this era, it doesn't happen because we're in love with scoring so much. But Haliburton, every year, he uplifts his team offense. Since he's been with the Kings, when he played in games without De'Aaron Fox, he was averaging 19 and 9. That's how good he was. He was playing at an all-star level even when he was young with the Kings. And now with the Pacers, he's been maximized by this system, but he also is the system. And I think that gets overlooked a lot because of what TJ McConnell does off the bench. But Haliburton's decision-making, how he keeps the offense flowing and his teammates involved, and everybody is always in rhythm, how they play in transition, the pace they play with. Rick Carlisle is the same coach that coached the best offensive rating in history back in Dallas in Luka Doncic's second season. Their pace that year was 18th. So it shows that the pace of play has to do more with the head of the snake and the player, which is Hali, and he's a run and gun point guard. He doesn't make bad mistakes. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's hyper efficient. And that's why when we get into these arguments about whether or not he's a better player than Trae Young, than John Morant, than these other point guards, even LaMelo Ball was in the conversation early in the year. The reason why Haliburton, to me, has always been better than those players is because even though he doesn't give you the volume scoring, it's You're not getting the turnovers. He limits those. He's also very efficient. And I just feel like that gets very underappreciated in today's NBA. And now we're appreciating it more because in must-win games, he upticks his scoring. He shows that he is capable of rising to a different level as a scorer when he needs to. And from the start of game 4, he was the most aggressive offensive player on the court.
At an efficient level too. Like we can't take away from like Haliburton. He doesn't really take a lot of bad shots. Not only does he not take a lot of bad shots, he takes care of the basketball with the best of them. He knows exactly who to get the ball to, when to get him the ball, when to slow the offense down, when to pick the offense up. And I don't think we've talked nearly as much about Pascal Siakam as I think we should. Ox, isn't that OG Anunoby's matchup?
For the most part, I believe so. Yeah,
I think Pascal Siakam has gotten the best of him in this series. If I'm being honest,
I would say so.
Yeah, I think he's gotten the best of him. And
Ron, what's the what's that about? She asked him, I said, yeah, I believe so.
I feel like
I don't got no weird emotional attachment to OG Anunoby where I can't say, oh yeah, he's getting cooked.
Oh, you don't?
This isn't. No. Yes, I'm a big fan of OG Anunoby, but it's not. I'm not like these weirdos that's harassing me on Twitter because I can't admit that one of my favorite players got scored on. Like, yeah, well, yes, Pascal Siakam absolutely got the best OG Anunoby. That doesn't make me like OG Anunoby any less.
Sure,
I still think he's a great basketball player. So yes, chill. Yeah, I think OG is absolutely winning that matchup. Yes,
without Pascal Siakam
winning the matchup.
Oh yes, that's all.
You mean Pascal
Siakam? Yes, chill. I'm talking to you because you know what I mean. You're not being emotional about it.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think that
real quick. I got a quick question from my man Joel Santana, real quick. Yo, so Joel's Mike Malone is available. Do you think that maybe the Knicks should go try to grab him, or maybe even Taylor? What's his name? Taylor Jenkins. I wanted to call him Taylor King. Shout out Taylor King.
The Nikola Jokic tax on Mike Malone might be real, so I would stay away from that.
This is Ty Lue all over again.
I don't think it. Well, Ty Lue's. I think he's a great coach, but
Ty Lue. Well, this is what happened to Ty Lue though after LeBron.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joel's?
I don't know if Mike Malone would be my first option.
Not you, Joel. I'm talking to Joel Santana.
I don't know if Mike Malone would be my first option, but I do think taking my Knicks glasses off because OG, you mentioned it. OG,
yes, with the
you're not keeping the same energy. That's what you said, OG, because my Knicks glasses are off now. We're down 3-1. That's a historical death sentence unless something miraculous happens. And while I'm looking back and appreciating this playoff run, I'm also saying, damn, the Pistons took us to 6 and looked better than us for most of that series. 7, and we were, yeah, you're right. And we were very clutch in that series, but for the first 3 quarters, for most of those games, the Pistons looked like the better team. Against Boston, we come back down 20 twice. I think the worst thing the Knicks can do is run this team back. There was a lot of breaks that went our way, and I think there has to be a change made. I think Tom Thibodeau is on thin ice, and I also think that Josh Hart is the most expendable player in the lineup. I do.
That's interesting.
Well, Joel, to your point,
he doesn't have the most value though.
Joel, to your point, when Mitchell Robinson came back, I think that maybe Thibs kind of went to Mitchell Robinson a little too late because I thought wasn't that the original plan? It was Brunson at the 1, Bridges at the 2, OG at the 3, Cat at the 4, and Mitch was going to be at the 5 had he not gotten hurt. And then Josh Hart would have been a rotation guy. Josh Hart was also a rotation guy when y'all had Julius Randle. And then when those guys ended up going out of the lineup. So I don't hate, to be honest with you, I don't hate Josh Hart as a rotation guy. I just think that he's a Thibs guy, and he's one of those guys that stays on the floor. Whether he's effective or not, because I've seen Josh Hart as a defender. I don't want to mask effort, right? I don't want to mask effort and toughness with know-how. And I feel like Josh Hart can be a liability a lot of times on defense.
Josh got to play.
What?
Yes,
Josh got to play, too.
I'm not
liability
arguing
on
that
defense.
point. I'm not arguing that point. But yes, he has been a liability on defense because he's gotten beat to the rim. Not only has he gotten beat to the rim, he's been late.
Hold on.
100%.
He's guarding. He's covering for two. This is what I'm saying.
And that's the point.
No.
You put him in space where he shouldn't be in.
No.
He shouldn't be guarding Pascal Siakam.
No.
He shouldn't be.
The issue with the way that we talk about players, Josh Hart has undeniably been a good defender in every situation he has been in post Laker. He's been a great defender for every team, including this one, including in this playoff run. The issue is we're now going to blame Josh Hart being beat defensively on the fact, not on the other stuff that's actually reason. You're saying Josh Hart, he has been covering.
He's part of this.
But no. He has been covering for Karl Anthony Towns and more so Jalen Brunson every single possession of this entire regular season and the entire playoff run, including when he was great in the Celtics series. And now, because I told you versus this Pacers team, you can't do that because they're going to move you off every single action. All they do is move the ball. That's the entire focus of their offense. Yes. And so now Josh Hart is getting cooked because he can't cover up versus, again, chill, the most pass-happy team in 100%. The NBA. Yes, and he has to cover for Cat and Brunson every possession. And it's his fault? No, I'm telling you that he can't. No, that's not. He can't do the job of three different people.
And he doesn't have to do the job of because he does. Also, no, he doesn't because he also does have. He does have OG Anunoby on the floor. He does have.
What is he doing? He's getting cooked. And he's getting cooked. To that point, he's getting cooked.
Three players cannot guard five players. It's hard enough for five players to guard five players, let alone three.
And am I lying? Is that not how basketball works? Like I can't. If my job is to play,
can shut down the best offense.
And OG's getting cooked too.
And that's no. See, Ron, just because you on this high with the Pacers, don't twist my words around. I said that these are the best two. This is the best perimeter defending duo in the NBA. I stand on that. Hold on, Ron.
It ain't a hold on. They ass fried just like Brunson, just like Brunson and Cat.
What I'm saying,
it ain't nothing the best perimeter duo in the league can do.
What you're saying is that Hart has had bad defensive moments.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Joel. That's exactly what I'm saying. You're making it sound like I think that Josh Hart is a liability all the way around. No, he's not.
You said he hasn't been good defensively. That's not him.
There has been stretches where he has not been good. And there also been times when he should not be guarding Pascal Siakam. There's no way.
Who should be? Which one should be?
Matchup, OG Anunoby, but we live in this.
OG's been getting fried too, though.
But you know what? Ain't that part
of it? Oh, wait. Matter of fact, didn't somebody tell you he was an all-NBA level player this year? Didn't somebody tell you that going into the playoffs? I could have thought for damn sure that somebody said that. And then all of a sudden, the dude's been cooking all year, especially since the team got healthy. They can't guard them, chill, and now they're confident.
I do understand that point, right?
And now they're confident.
They can't guard them, but this is what we talk about when we talk about a team being better. Okay, the Knicks defense as a whole, can be elite at times. It can be really good at times because Cat can get on the glass, because Brunson can stay in front of a guy for a stretch. Right? He can do that. Josh Hart can get you extra. Josh Hart can get on the glass. OG Anunoby and both Mikal Bridges navigate through screens and play one-on-one defense. Great. They can do that for stretches. However, we live in an era of, for no other reason, but we live in an era of positionless basketball, and a lot of times these guys are let off the hook because we're switching. OG Anunoby does not have to switch with Josh Hart when OG Anunoby is 6'7", and that's his matchup. I'm chasing. Okay, but that's part of it, though. That's part of it, though, Swiper. When this is my matchup, if I'm going to get my ass bust, that's part of my job. I'm going to tell you this right now.
You're just mad at today's NBA.
And here's why.
But what's wrong with switching a 6'4" defender who's can guard?
Pascal gave it to everybody, though. Pascal gave it to everybody in front of him.
When OG Anunoby, who I think should have been an all-league defender this year, when OG Anunoby at 6'7", 6'8", if this is my matchup, don't switch.
Over who?
Over anybody. Nigga, choose somebody.
Okay, exactly. Nothing.
Do not switch. This is my matchup. I'm going to deal with him
I watch
more
him, bro.
times than not. We shouldn't be switching, but we find
But
ourselves.
they always
switching.
switch between their.
And that's the
between 1
problem,
and 3.
Striper. That's the problem because we find ourselves scrambling.
But chill, you can't. But you can't. The problem is, chill. You got to remember, it's not just the switch. And I know you know this, so I'm preaching to the choir. Because 97 chill, prime chill, beat Kobe. What I'm saying is that all right, you scored against Kobe. What I'm saying is, chill, is that if you do that and you try to not switch with multiple players, they already do that with Cat. They already do that with Brunson. You can't afford to then do that. Because what happens is if you do that, you try to show and recover. Well, you're showing and recovering with 2 worse defenders. Or what happens is when you show and recover, you got to bring that backline defender up to help up for the initial action,
absolutely.
and then that's going to be Cat or Brunson.
So what's
now the whole open side of the floor, the whole left side of the floor is wide open. So instead of just allowing for 2 good defenders to switch and you eat and you live, then you have to do that and just rotate versus the best passing team in the sport. So that just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense to switch neither. The reason why it doesn't make any sense to switch because now if I got Cat dealing with Pascal Siakam, which we want that matchup with, we're Indiana. We 100%. We're going to drag Cat away from the basket, and we're going to drag him deep into the corner or deep into the left wing. We're going to drag him and get that switch. He's going to destroy Cat more times than not. So if I'm OG Anunoby, I need you to just show I'm quick enough that I can get back to this matchup. And if I'm Josh Hart, I need you to just bump him. I'm quick enough that I can get back to this matchup because, again, I don't want a 6'4" guy, as good as Josh Hart can be as a defender. I don't want him dealing with Pascal Siakam, who, by the way, got it going. What do you want to do? I don't want him doing
You're saying if they
chasing. That's what I'm doing.
But chasing off ball. Like, so you're saying that but chill, I guess for me, what is Josh Hart? You're saying he's conceding size, and that's what your issue is with Josh Hart guarding Pascal.
100%.
And Josh Hart cannot guard Pascal Siakam.
I'm saying OG is 6'7", and he's also smaller and also getting cooked though.
OG is much bigger than Josh Hart. OG is a much better matchup.
Well, I guess for me, I'm just not saying that. I think that's a symptom of a larger issue.
Can Josh Hart guard perimeter players?
I think the issue with Josh Hart for you swiping is that I think you see him being the hustle player he is, mixing it up with bigs, out rebounding 7-foot dudes, just cleaning up the glass, being one of those type of players. And I think you see that and think, okay, well, if he has the ability to do that, he should be able to guard a big man like Pascal Siakam. That's fine. But regardless, I don't think he should ever be looked at to guard Pascal Siakam. If he gets switched on to Pascal Siakam in the mix, that's
what we were talking about.
Right. I know.
I'm not agreeing he shouldn't be the primary matchup. I agree with you.
Right.
But what I'm saying though, if that happens, then okay, I still want to keep him far away from Pascal Siakam because at the end of the day, that's what Indiana wants. And from defense, yes, I think Indiana 100% wants Josh Hart switched on to Pascal Siakam. I think that anytime they get that matchup, the play's done. We're not doing none of that no more. Go, kill him, and there's nothing Josh Hart can do about it. But in the same token, though, I do think Josh Hart is getting a short end of the stick as far as what he provides on the defensive end. I don't think he's a technically sound defender where you're not going to be able to go to the charts and the numbers and be like, oh, Josh Hart is a good defender because of his yada, 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 or because of this and that. You're not going to be able to look at it on the chart, I don't think. I think where Josh Hart provides defense is making hustle plays, mixing it up, and causing that controlled chaos. And I don't think that you're going to be able to be successful with that unless you got guys like Mitchell Robinson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby to kind of be there to help clean up when you get beat because for gambling and stuff. So I don't think Josh Hart's
cooked too.
I don't think Josh Hart's is a defensive liability until he's matched up with a guy like OG one-on-one.
Josh Hart is not a defensive liability. He can show effort, but if he can't guard players that are bigger than him and he can't stay in front of guards consistently, then how is he a good defender?
Which guard? Which guard is he not staying in front of?
I don't just be seeing Josh Hart.
No, but which guard? No, which guard is he? Which guard is he not staying in front of?
Well, any
defender.
I think he's average. I think Josh Hart he's average.
Who is he? But who is he not staying in front of? Hali?
Well, yeah, he can't stay in front of him, but also Nesmith has beat him off the dribble multiple times.
Hali all playoffs?
Aaron Nesmith beat him off the dribble multiple times. Benedict Mathurin got to the line 10 times.
So Well, I guess that's what I'm saying. Like we're like pointing this at Josh, and I'm saying the whole defense is getting fried. Like everybody.
Yeah,
is.
but I think what Chill's
still have
point
to-
was is that Josh Hart just hasn't been a good defender.
No, his point was that you can't switch, and I'm saying you have to
Part of my point.
at some, but you have to at some level though.
You
Like
don't, Swiper.
so, but
That's
I'm saying like Chill, it's done then. Like it's done, it's over. Then you have no chance. I'm saying Chill, you have no chance if that's your issue.
I think what
there
we're
are switches. Really quickly, Joe.
Yeah.
There are switches that we can make. I'm not going to argue that point. There are switches that we can make. But with OG Anunoby and Josh Hart, if I'm dealing with Pascal Siakam, we are not switching. I'm chasing. There's no reason why Pascal Siakam should have Josh Hart on him when I'm covering him. Because whoever covering Josh Hart, he's screening me. I should be able to get around that screen whatever it is, wherever it is, whether it's a pin down, whether it's a screen at the top of the key, no matter where it is, who's ever covering Josh Hart, I should be able to get around that screen and stay with Pascal Siakam. That's my point. That's it.
Fellas, I gotta just hold that thought right quick, Joel, because I gotta step in and we gotta take a quick lunch break to run over the prize picks so we can set our lineup for tonight. Now, with Prize Picks, after you download the app, you use promo code PANO, and when you do that, you will get $50 back instantly. Now, the cool thing about Prize Picks is they got some fun, interesting promos going on at the moment. Let's check them out. Let's see what they got going on. Now, obviously, you guys see the referral bonus. If you refer a friend, you get money back. Obviously, you guys see the play 5 to get 50. Remember, I told you guys if you play $5, you get 50 back instantly when you use promo code PANO. Well, that's that one. And then last but certainly not least, they have a free pick today. Anthony Edwards free pick at that. This is a no-brainer for Game 5 to use on your Prize Picks contest. His points projection for tonight is 99% off, which means if he scores just 1 point, you win that pick with Anthony Edwards. So make sure you get over there right now, download the app, use promo code PANO, and lock into this free Anthony Edwards pick. See y'all there. Oh, and by the way, shout out to Factor Meals. They make eating well as easy as possible. So make today, make the summer, actually make the rest of the year your best year yet with nutritious 2-minute meals with Factor Meals. Eating has never been this easy. All you have to do is just heat it up, enjoy it, and it gives you more time to, well, do the things that you want to do in life. Get outside instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor Meals arrives fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle. With over 45 menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Factor Meals powers your day with satisfying breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. It's easy to savor for the whole summer. So like I said, get the Factor Meals, get some of your time back, and quite frankly, get the best meals that you're going to eat all summer. Get started at factormeals.com/PlayersChoice50 off and use code PlayersChoice50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's PlayersChoice50 off at factormeals.com/PlayersChoice50 off for 50% off your first box. We'll see you there. Yo, Joel, you were saying something?
I think to combine the two thoughts, and I'll let you go swipe in a bit. To combine the two thoughts, it's just, OG, you think Hart has been all right defensively, and what Swiper said, it's just impossible to not get mismatch hunted against the Pacers. That is what they do. So it even if you are chasing something, you're then leaving a pick and pop wide open, and it's an open 3-point shot. Like, you have to concede something to the Pacers because that's just what they do offensively. And I think it speaks to the fact that the Knicks made it this far being this flawed defensively, and it's something that they have to address. Now, is that continuing to build around Cat and Brunson? Is that maybe looking for an upgrade at the defensive spot at the big position? Does Giannis become available for the Knicks? I don't know. That's going to be a talking point all summer long, but I do think this team needs to get better. And if they're going with Cat and Brunson moving forward, then they need to maximize the offense. The defense is going to be bad, but they need to maximize the offense.
They don't need to do nothing major. Go ahead, Julius.
I would just like to say this, that I just watched every single Pascal Siakam shot from last night. He scored all of his points on OG Anunoby and on Karl-Anthony Towns in particular. Karl-Anthony Towns on ISO, OG on closeouts. Josh Hart had one play where he was in the vicinity for Pascal shots, and it was on a botched switch that they tried to do what Chill said. They tried to do what Chill said. Don't switch.
Right, but that's one game, bro.
I know. I'm just giving context on. And yesterday, because that was his best game. 2 games ago, he had a really good game, but this was his best game. They're trying to do what Chill said.
This was Pascal's best game?
I'm saying he had this and then 2 games ago. I'm saying he had, but in this series, I'm talking about this series in particular. So he had 2 games ago, but he had last night. They tried to do the switch, the show and recover thing, and they got burned because OG was supposed to go underneath and then go back to Pascal. Then he made a jumper.
Sounds like a communication.
That was one shot. Every other possession was on ISO, in particular against Karl-Anthony Towns.
And that's my matchup.
Again, which goes to my point. Karl-Anthony Towns can't like that. That's the problem. Like they can't make it work. They have no way. They have no way to make it work with both of them on the court versus the team, which is why I think it's going to be over 4-1 at best, 4-2. But I mean, we'll see what happens for sure.
And that's why I wasn't that high.
That's just not basketball, y'all. That's just not basketball, y'all. There is definitely a way. So I feel like when we're talking about professional basketball players of this magnitude, there is 100% always a way. Joe just said it's impossible to not. What you say, Joe? To not get mismatch hunted. I disagree with that. Yeah, you're gonna have to give up something else. But that's just not true. Like there's when we're talking about basketball with this magnitude of basketball players, there's always a way. It's just up to coach to do some coaching. No, the series is over. I'm not.
I was talking about. There's no way.
I'm just talking about like as far as fixing certain things. Like it's like when you keep seeing the same repeat. That's why I'm putting a lot of this on Thibs because it's the same shit.
Well, they did make it work versus the Celtics.
I got a question for you. Quick question. Sure. Is there any team that doesn't like switch in the NBA that you know, like off the top of your head, like they don't?
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I mean.
Well, it depends. Like I think 1-5, yes. Most teams don't switch 1-5. Most teams.
I mean, but like just in general, like that, they're like, all right, we're sticking matchup versus matchup. We're not going to switch.
Well, to be fair, Don Nelson
doesn't switch as much.
I did share the clip. Don Nelson did have the idea back in the day that whoever our worst defender is, we're gonna let you go one-on-one at him, because the whole point is like if you bog down your own offense to be mismatch hunting versus the worst defender, we're probably gonna win more times than not, even that possession, which is like the Mavs with Luka and then just backline Derek Lively and obviously Daniel Gafford and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, it just depends on the roster, on the squad. In the playoffs,
I'm just saying in general, can you name any team like in this NBA right now that just is not switching? Because every team.
Well, I'm not. I mean, everybody's gonna switch certain matchups, but then there's also gonna be certain matchups where it's like we don't switch that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I think it's very rare where you find a team that has the ability to say switch everything. That's a blessing. That's just a blessing from the basketball guys that most coaches don't get. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you got some teams like
you mean it's not good though. Yeah, like there's not a lot of teams.
Right? Yeah. I mean, some coaches, I think that's just being lazy. Like, okay, just switch everything, see what happens. They'll score, we'll get it back, whatever. I don't like that type of stuff though. I don't think I can say. I don't think there's any team that just doesn't switch. You know what I'm saying? You have to sometimes, right? But against like in this playoff, I'm talking about in the playoff series, we got to see this team at least 4 times. Mm-hmm. We get every night to go get back to the war room and scheme and plot and come up with something new. I think some coaches, and I don't want to discredit these professional basketball coaches because they're coaching for a reason, right? But at the same time, I think you can get complacent and stand on your guys getting it done. Like we're gonna just keep beating a dead horse. I think sometimes Thibs and sometimes other coaches get just caught in their ways. Like they're not willing to adjust. They're not willing to try new things. They're not willing to be innovative. You know what I'm saying? I think more coaches got to try different shit.
It's like it's one of those things where it's like we got here doing this, so we're gonna stick to it. Versus some coaches are like, are we gonna adjust to the moment? But it's just
right. And to Chill's point, because this team we knew as soon as they got Mikal, we knew this team was put together to play Boston, right? But that's not good enough. You know what I'm saying? Boston ain't the only team in the NBA. That's one team out of 30. So you got to be able to beat the champs and understand that there's another team out there that wants to be the champ. We got to be able to beat them too. We can't play the same way against everybody.
But you know what I mean? I was told that East has to go through Boston. I was told by somebody up here that
that's true. Their floor is the finals. Yeah, that we did hear that.
the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, we
That's
did.
correct.
Well, I don't know. I said from the jump that the Knicks could beat the Celtics. But see, that's me too. I'm overlooking these teams too. I'm overlooking these teams too. But that's not my job. I'm allowed to overlook the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? Like if I overlook the Pacers, there's no consequence to that. If Thibs overlooks the Pacers, they down 3-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying?
To be fair,
coach
though,
got a coach, bro.
I do understand it. I don't expect anybody. Well, didn't expect anybody to be as high on the Pacers as I was. And there's other teams out there too. You can say the Cavs too. I didn't expect it's certain people that would say you don't expect everybody to be as high on the Cavs. Everybody, for the most part, thought that the East was a one-man race. And obviously the Knicks joined it when they made their off-season moves. But still, even then, nobody thought that the Knicks could beat the Celtics.
We thought that was a wash.
I didn't think that. I'd be lying if I said I thought that. I thought the Knicks would get smoked in 5 games.
Mainstream media, nobody was.
All I said was the 3 best teams are Celtics, Pacers, and Cavs. But yeah, I did not think the Knicks were going to be Celtics.
Yeah, but I can't be mad at the Knicks GMs. I can't be mad at Thibs. I can't be mad at nobody over there for constructing their roster to beat who they believed was not just the best team in the East. Last summer, coming into the season, everybody thought the Celtics were the best team in the NBA. And even after the Knicks beat the Celtics, we got some Knicks fans up here, and there's a lot of Knicks fans in the chat. Y'all thought it was an easy cakewalk to the championship after that. Y'all already celebrating. Yeah, we going to the finals. We doing this, that, and the third. Everybody thought that the Celtics had already wiped their hands and took care of business.
This is, you know what, Ron? This is Knicks fans' fault. They made their team complacent by doing all that celebrating and shit. See, that's the problem. You got to, you know what I'm saying? Got to act like you've been there before. You know what I'm saying?
But they haven't though.
Fans ain't never been there, and they
haven't though. That's the problem.
That's okay. I said act like you've been there before. If they just would have stayed, if they would have stayed calm for one more week, just stayed calm for one more week, this team was celebrating with their fan base. You know what I'm saying? But they was happy. They deserved it.
Part of me feels like
national about New York.
Part of me feels like the catch trade only happened because Mitchell Robinson was hurt to start the year, and Isaiah Hartenstein couldn't get re-signed. That's why I think it happened. And in the process, we gave up Dante Randall and a first-round pick. That's going to be the 17th pick in the draft. So not a bad pick by any means. And Julius Randle has played well for Minnesota in the playoffs. He's had two very bad games against OKC.
2 good ones too.
For the most part, yeah, he's played well in the playoffs. I don't know. Where do you guys think the Knicks go from here? Do you think that they have to move? I think it was pretty equal. I thought it was a win-win. I think Minnesota, because they got the first round pick, it kind of worked out better for them, and they have depth, more depth than the Knicks. And I think trading Dante and Randall, not having Dante be a bench piece, I think that would have been valuable in a series like this, especially if we could trust somebody coming off the bench.
So you think last year the Knicks would beat this team? Last year's Knicks would beat this team?
Well, last year's Knicks would have beat last year's Pacers had we not gotten hurt, I think.
No. I'm talking about this Pacers team right now.
I think we have a better shot if we're healthy. With Hartenstein. We couldn't bring back Hartenstein. Hartenstein is a big piece.
The Pacers are hooping. We gotta show them respect. I feel like
but the Pacers are well-worthy finals team, and even in the regular season, they were the second best team in the East against teams over 500. They had the best record. They were top 5 record, and against teams over 500, they had the 4th best record since January. So this is an elite level team that deserves all their flowers and deserves to go to the finals. I just am interested to see how the Knicks are going to manage this offseason. If it's firing Thibs, if it's keeping him, if it's moving on from Cat, if it's a Josh Hart trade, I don't know what it's going to be, but the team needs to get better.
Trade though, Joe. I can't see something blockbuster happening this summer, considering what you just did. You trade Julius Randle, like what was it, a week before training camp? And I think you did that because of the bread. I think Julius Randle, his contract was up, and I don't think you felt comfortable paying him what you're paying Cat right now. I think
Mikal's contract is going to be up too.
I think after next year, I think he's up. On top of that, to trade Mikal Bridges from Brooklyn to the Knicks for 5-1s, that's a really big deal. And now for this thing to go south like it did, this team was built to beat the Celtics, like I said earlier, and not built to win the NBA championship. So when you flame out like this, and now you make something drastic, you make another drastic move, it's suggesting that we really don't know what we're doing. We're basically flying by the seat of our pants because there's nothing consistent with the Knicks, as opposed to if you stuck with a group for 3 or 4 years or so, and then after that time you decided, all right, we're going to move on from this group. You haven't really, you're not doing that if you're going to blow this thing up again.
Yeah, I want to step in though, and I want to see, even I've never really liked Thibodeau like that, so I wouldn't be mad at that.
What's your issue with Thibs, Ron? What's your issue with Thibs, Ron?
I play five guys. I play my five best players into the ground. That's the, like, for me, it's not the X's and O's. You got Jalen Brunson and you got Karl Anthony Towns. I'm not mad at him just riding his star players. I'm not saying that is the best offense he can run. There's levels to it. He can get a lot more motion, a lot more ball movement, but the offense isn't the issue for me. First off, we know Thibs is a defensive coach, so that's why it's not too big of a deal. And Ox is right; he can get assistance and stuff like that. But once again, that's not my issue. My issue is you will play these guys from October all the way till May 28th. 27th yesterday they played. They'll play again tomorrow on the 29th. You'll play these same guys damn near 40 minutes a night. And it's just like he just doesn't know how to play chess with his substitutions.
So it's his rotations that your issue is, Ron, because he had 3 guys that was in the top 5 in the league in minutes.
That's ridiculous.
So that's just
throughout the regular season.
And Jill, we talked about that.
Like how 3
early in the year.
We've been talking about that. Ron, you wasn't on the playback with us that day when they closed out the Celtics. And we'll never will invite you. You got to show up. It was the closeout game against the Celtics, and they were beating these dudes with almost 40 points. There was 5 minutes left in the basketball game, bro. 5 minutes left in the basketball game. And I'll bullshit you not. Jalen Brunson, Mitchell Robinson, OG Anunoby were all still on the basketball floor. Mikal Bridges was still on the floor, but he's an Iron Man. You know, let Mikal rock, whatever. He likes that shit. I don't know.
You learn nothing from that Derrick Rose stuff, bro. Like, you got
nothing.
They're up 40.
Take them out.
There's 5 minutes left in the basketball game, and I'm telling you.
Most coaches is taking them to start the fourth. Like most coaches,
I think we got this one in hand. We can sit the rest of
the couple minutes in the
5 minutes left. I think we can safely say we got this one. I think so. We ain't got to stick with the group. I think
so. Let me ask out.
You gotta stick the knife in him and twist it, bro. Like
it's ridiculous.
If you're picking one player to build your franchise around, is it Haliburton or Brunson?
I mean, that's a question for Joel. Joel, you're a playoff guy.
I know your answers first.
No. Whoa. I had already said Brunson many times. I remember last year I was super impressed.
It's not Brunson though.
But no, hold on, Ron, because we don't know Ron because this is what I don't like. I don't like this when we 2 months ago. If we would have had this conversation at the end of the regular season, it would have been Brunson going away. And even for Ron would have been up here. Ron, stop it. Ron, you would have been up here talking about, well, you would have done your impersonation. No way.
New information, though, Ron. Ron, it's the new information that we have.
It was new information last year. I've been telling y'all when it comes to the difference between me and you guys, when it comes to point guards, is I want a point guard.
When have you ever said Hali was better in the playoffs? When have you said Hali was better in the playoffs?
When have I ever said that Brunson was better than Hali? When have you ever?
Because you just said, hold on. When have you ever said?
There's no way he takes Jalen over Haliburton.
After last playoffs, would you have made the same argument?
Yes, I've never had Brunson over Haliburton.
Respectfully, I don't believe it. I don't remember this conversation at all last year. Maybe I wasn't here.
I think he's the, and this is I'm reiterating things that I've said.
You think he's the second best point guard?
I think he's the second best distributor in the NBA. I think Trae Young is first. I think I'm
about
to get to my point. Can you stop asking me questions? Can I answer the first question?
As you were saying, Ron.
I think he's the second best passer in the NBA.
Behind
Trae Young, Tyrese Haliburton. And so my thing is, with a point guard, I want my point guard to pass the ball at a high level. I will never take a scoring point guard. For the most part, Luka and SGA, we can keep them out of this. They're in other tiers.
There's exceptions.
They're the exception because not only do they pass at a high level, but they score with the best of them. So I'll keep Luke and SGA out of this.
What about Steph Curry?
Steph as well. I'll keep Steph out of this too.
Well, your list keeps getting longer. So who? Wait, Ja Morant. What about him?
No, as you were saying, Ron. Keep going, Ron. As you were saying,
Steph's name just doesn't come in these conversations because he's just in a whole different tier.
Okay.
All around. But my point is, I always want my point guard to pass at a high level. I would never take Jalen Brunson over Haliburton. I pass miles better than you. It's galaxies. B, I play defense better than you. C, I'm bigger than you. D, I shoot better than you as well. And we just talking about the 3-ball, catch and shoots and stuff like that. And then obviously Brunson has the scoring gap. But as we seen last night with Haliburton, and we've been seeing this the whole playoffs, when Haliburton dials it up, it ain't really no point guard that's really messing with Haliburton.
Chill. Maybe I've missed this whole thing. I did not see this.
Ron's always been high on Haliburton.
I know, but not like this. This is a whole different thing. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
You have
this is a whole different thing.
Before you got here, I was the I started the Haliburton.
That was PC. That was PCBS. That was PC before Swipe. I don't remember all your takes. You're right.
Swiper, you're trying to pull a heist where you're trying to come in and take credit for the house that I built.
I know. I hear you. You've been big on Hali, but like
built this house.
This Hali Brunson thing.
You are trying to take.
That's all I'm saying.
Take squatting rights. That's what you're trying to do.
No, Ron, relax. Ron, you had Tyrese going out in the first round. Relax. God, relax.
You did have him going out in the first round, and pretty convincing, by the way.
And you had Jokic going out in the first round. So you know what that means?
But your guy is Giannis, though. Your guy is. You just said last week, though. You just said literally last week that this is your mistress, and your wife is the Bucks and Giannis, though. You just said that to us.
Yes, but you got to remember too. You got to remember who you're dealing with. Sniper. You got to remember this.
You didn't choose your wife.
You gotta remember you
didn't choose your wife.
You chose a random chick on the corner over your wife. That's crazy.
And I should be.
Maybe she do something crazy.
Ron, I'm gonna issue an apology, Ron, because again, I think I said two.
My bad.
I think I said 2 or 3 years ago that, and if they end up beating the Knicks and end up in the NBA Finals, and then they end up winning the thing, because we might have to talk about the Indiana Pacers being the NBA champs. Oh shit. I mean, that's not something that none of us had on our bingo card. Any of y'all who say that y'all did, you lying. None of us had that on our bingo card.
You had them as the champs?
You lying. Ron, knock off the
Y'all such a liar, bro. I'm sorry. I can't let y'all do this with Ron. Ron was not like this. You did not have this energy all year.
It was not.
Into the first round, you thought it was going to be a dog walk.
I did not think it was going to be a dog walk.
You thought they were winning like 4-1.
Go back and find the clips. Yes, I told you about over the Pacers.
Okay.
But and Chill jumped on me multiple times throughout this year when I said, A, we'll beat the Cavs. And I know you remember that, Swipe, because you was here. And B, I said, we'll beat the Boston Celtics. And that's when Chill lost his mind. Bro, cut it out. There's no way you think the Pacers can beat the Celtics. So, A, if I think they can beat the Cavs.
So you thought the Bucks were winning it all at that point then? This is when you had the Bucks.
Yes.
Oh, I got you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like.
Okay. Okay.
OG, who you take, Haliburton or Brunson?
And see, that's the thing about Ron. The way that I think about point guards, because Ron, to your point, the way that I think about point guards, who are the point guards that I love?
Right.
Stockton, Magic, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash. I love those league guards. And Haliburton is everything that I love about a point guard. But I live in this era where I've gotten brainwashed into believing that the scoring league guard is better. I've gotten tricked into thinking that the Damian Lillards and the Trae Youngs of the world, even though Trae Young does pass a lot better than plenty of other guards, but as a lead guard, Ron, I think Brunson is a better player. I'm taking Haliburton as the lead guard though.
What?
I think Brunson is a
he
better
said
player.
Who's better, so Brunson's a better player.
Brunson is a better player.
You'd rather have Brunson.
As a lead guard, I'm taking Haliburton over him. Yes, I am.
So I don't know why this is so
my logic has been
because I'm telling you, a month before the playoffs started, this was a unanimous.
No. I think Brunson is better. I think Brunson is a better player, and I'm never going to argue that. Brunson 100% is a better player.
But that's what we're arguing. Who's the better player?
Just like Steph Curry is a better player than John Stockton. I'm taking John Stockton over Curry as a league guard.
No, that's not what the question was.
The question
Who'd you
was,
rather
who
take to
would
build your franchise around?
Start your team. So
So just say the answer. Which one?
Haliburton.
Oh my god.
Haliburton.
I think Jalen Brunson is better than Tyrese. But if you're starting your franchise, I think you have to take Tyrese over JB. I don't think by me saying I have to take Tyrese is saying that he's better than Jalen Brunson. I think he can just do more. He's bigger, better defender. He can score and distribute. So you got to go with him because it's you got a better chance of building a competent basketball team. If you know what I'm saying, if you're starting just from scratch, I'm not going to pick a 5'11" point guard with no D that can't really play D like that. Like I'm taking the big dude that can play D, shoot, and run the floor. And I remember, that's the thing too. Y'all call me a Tyrese Haliburton hater, and I was the one talking about Tyrese can play D, and everybody said, "No, Tyrese isn't a defender. It's reputation or something." I didn't know that he wasn't a good defender until y'all told me.
Brunson is only better because of his scoring. I think Brunson, he gets to these modes where he could take over as a scorer, and Haliburton just doesn't do consistently. Brunson has averaged 30 points per game in the playoffs over the last 3 seasons. I feel like that can't get overlooked, and he's gone up against some elite level defenses. Haliburton does have the advantages with the playmaking and the defense. So if you want to build a team that is not a liability defensively, then you probably go with Haliburton. I think they're in the same tier though, and I would take Brunson because I just believe he's a better player, and I do think if the Knicks had more depth around him, then he kind of.
We're talking about a guy. This is what we doing, Swiper. We're talking about giving the basketball to this guy, and he's running your crew, as opposed to this guy who is a better player, right? He is.
I don't even think he's a better player. I don't even like y'all saying that.
I'm giving the basketball to if I want to do the run.
Ron, we got $100 super chat, Ron. You gonna take it off the screen? You're not going.
Chill making his point.
Go ahead. I'm just saying, don't take it off.
What I'm saying, Swiper, is to give the basketball to this guy, and he's running my crew, as opposed to this guy who I know I'm gonna get buckets from him. Am I gonna get the right play? Am I gonna get the better distributor? Am I gonna get the guy who's more in control of the offense? Am I gonna get that guy? Am I gonna get the better ball handler? Am I gonna get that guy? Or am I gonna go with the dude who's just a better bucket getter, who can get downhill?
Who also had 3 straight 40 in 10 games in the playoffs.
I'm not arguing that. Right, I'm not arguing that point. I'm talking about the guy who I'm going to be the steadiest with, and if I'm going with the guy I'm going to be the steadiest with, I'm giving the ball to Tyrese Haliburton.
I also want y'all to know, if Haliburton was on the Knicks, they would be a better team too. You drop Haliburton in New York, and he's you guys' starting point guard. Josh Hart looks way better, especially when he moves off the ball.
With that Thibs offense, they don't run as much.
Yeah, I'm saying Haliburton to get the boys moving. They'll get the buckets that he'll get Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah,
Karl Anthony Towns to be out here looking like Joel Embiid.
We know
he'll get that boy so many open looks. Josh OG and Mikal Bridges.
Well, let's play this game, Ron. After the super chat, how many offenses would be better if you were played Hali, the best player in that team with Hali? We'll do that after.
Now, but when you ask that question, you got to base it upon the coaching and the style of play they have. You can't, you know what I'm saying? Because if you got Tyrese over there and they're playing the same way the Knicks are playing, then no, they're not going to be better because he can't score like Jalen Brunson. But if you put him over there and you send Britt Carlisle over there with him, then yeah, they're a much better basketball team.
I don't gotta add the coaches in. We can keep the same play style.
Oh, well, then they're worse.
I'm gonna tell you why I believe that they'll be better. Because one, Haliburton has shown us he's a better scorer than we give him credit for. But two, he don't gotta give you 30 and 40 point games every single night. The thing about it is he's gonna have the ball in his hands, and his job is to make a play. It's not necessarily to shoot a shot, it's to make a play. So on the decisions where Jalen Brunson decides to shoot a step back 3, that might be Hali giving you a heavy, getting downhill and getting somebody open for a shot.
Ron, but you can't pass it to nobody if they're not moving, Ron. They're standing and watching. They're standing and watching. That's their offense. They're standing and watching. Ron, you know.
Why are they
you know because that's the offense that they run.
They're standing and
what do you mean no? What do you mean no? They're not. That's not a thing, Ron. They're standing and watching because that's the offense they run. They're not standing and watching just because, bro. Like what makes you think they're just gonna stop moving or start moving?
SGA, his teammates stand and watch him because they know he's shooting the ball. Luka, his teammates stand and watch him because they know he's dribbling the shit out the ball. LeBron, same thing. All of these heliocentric players, the teammates stand and watch because the ball is just in your hand. I can't stand and watch if I know I'm about to get the ball.
Well, why would OKC's offense not be better with Hali than with SGA?
You could still have a silly.
Hold on. Answer that question. Why would
it would be
OKC's offense?
Yes.
OKC's taking a dip, but
I was with you. Wait a minute. Ron, I want you to realize where you're going. I want you to realize where you're going. Because now if you're saying with all those defenders, their defensive floor wouldn't change. I don't think more like they would do the same thing to SJ. Just put him on the worst player. Just put him on Jaden or whatever. Just hide him over there, and then we're gonna have all these defenders hunt. If you're saying that the offense for OKC would be better, you're also saying OKC would have a better team. Because their defense wouldn't change.
The drop-off wouldn't be much if there is a drop-off.
So you think he's close? No. So I want you to functionally understand. You think he is close to SGA as a player then based on that same logic. Because the issue is if their defense isn't going to drop because they're still going to put Caruso and Dub and Dort and Chet and all of them on the floor, and then their offense will be better with Hali because of the passing, playmaking, and an upscale on the scoring. You're also saying that there's not a big gap. There's not a gap, really. There's a marginal gap between them as players purely based on defensive value.
Well, SGA is a better defender. Obviously, he's a better scorer. And he is the better player.
Why is he a better scorer?
My thing is, what do you mean? Why is he a better scorer?
You just said that Hali can. I'm going back to what you said. You said that Hali can upscale his scoring, and Hali, to be fair, has upscaled his scoring very well in clutch situations, especially in four quarters and in four quarters overtime, and in the clutch situation throughout the playoffs this year, and he just had maybe the best first or third best, whichever one, best offensive performance of the playoffs so far, better than any offensive performance that the SJ's had so far. So I'm saying that like if he can upscale the scoring to near that level, then like what is the actual gap?
I don't think he'll ever uptick his scoring to SGA levels. I think that's. But what if he was the point guard of OKC? He wouldn't be asked to do that. They got guns over there. Like J-Dub is like you put J-Dub and Hali next to each other. You know what Haliburton's doing for J-Dub?
Yes, but Ron, the difference is J-Dub.
26 points per game guy.
The difference is Ron. J-Dub is cutting. J-Dub is moving. I just want to because we started our conversation and then Swiper wanted to try to cook you, so we got away from that.
Context.
All right, my bad, Joels. What I'm saying, Ron, is if you're gonna say that these players would cut. You know what I'm saying? If they had a different player, it's not just the offense. Then I got to put some of this on those guys. Then I got to say now that Jalen Brunson isn't a good facilitator because his guys aren't cutting for him.
Is that fair, Ron?
No, he's just not looking to facilitate.
Yeah,
but he would look to facilitate if dudes would move without the ball more, right? I mean, that's because. Yes, I would say so because you said that these guys would cut more. So I got it's got to go. I didn't
necessarily say that they would cut more. What I did say is they would
move without the ball.
Haliburton. No, I said that they would get the ball more because Haliburton would be moving the ball. In the pick and roll situation where the defense does have to help and stuff like that, you got to help. Either if Cat's rolling to the hoop, you got to help. If Mitchell Robinson's rolling to the hoop off a Haliburton pick and roll, you got to help. What does that mean? Right. Haliburton coming off that pick and roll, skipping the ball to open people. He coming in transition, getting the ball up early to guys. Jalen Brunson just doesn't do it at that level. When Jalen Brunson has the ball, Josh Hart, OG, and Mikal Bridges, I'm almost sure are like, this dude is shooting the ball. With Haliburton, you don't have that mindset. You're like, I know the ball is going to come to me, and if not, I need to be ready if the ball does come to me because he's moving this motherfucker. Karl Anthony Towns will get the.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
Karl Anthony Towns would feast. I'm telling you, he would look like Joel Embiid.
Now, when you talk about the skip passes off the pick and roll and whatnot, I can see your logic. It makes much more sense when you know what I'm saying when we break it down and talk ball. So I get where you're coming from.
So
I still do think that Tom Thibodeau would hinder Tyrese Haliburton. You know,
to your point, Ox,
We're not playing them too many minutes.
Really quickly, Joe.
You playing
to your
50.
point, Ox, as a big fella, you're gonna post up harder if you know I'm getting you. I'm looking for you. You're gonna ask for the ball.
Well, I'm still
if you know that I'm coming to you. So as a wing player, as a guy that plays off the ball, I'm gonna cut harder to the basket. I'm coming off screens harder because I know you looking for me. There's gonna be more action. Just say I'm not even talking about reconfiguring the offense. I'm not even talking about I'm just talking about we're just out here and we rocking. If I know you looking for me, I'm cutting to the basket harder. I'm asking for the ball differently, as opposed to I might get the ball this trip. We might get 2 or 3 trips where I don't get the ball. I'm running with Hali. Yo, Ox, I'm putting my head down.
So you think?
I
hear what you're saying.
I'm running with him.
Like I know that's right, and I know that's supposed to be the logic, but I can't answer that question because I can't relate to that shit because I'm gonna show my hands and post up and give you a target so that it can never be my fault. You know what I'm saying? Like it can never.
It can though, Ox, where if I miss you 2 or 3 trips, you're like, damn, yo, bring the ball over.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be. I'm definitely gonna be like, I wish this thing would pass, but I'm still not gonna sit around and pat. I still got to play ball because it can never be my fault. I got to make sure I'm doing what I got to do, and so that's why I believe what you're saying is correct, but I can't relate to that. I can't say yes or no to that because I just think that's some crybaby shit. You know what I'm saying? I just can't get behind it.
We acting like the
I
Knicks.
interrupted you, Joe, as you were saying.
Yo, right quick though, I do want to get around to the super chat, and I want to read some more super chats. If you guys are watching the video, right below chill, it says turn your YouTube notifications on. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you know anytime we go live. That includes the panel, that includes Chill with Chill. You might get a breaking news from the logo, PC football coming soon. You just never know what you're gonna get. So turn on your notification bell so you can know. Also, subscribe and like the video. My man Arch sent through $100 super chat, and he's asking us a good question. Who would you rather have?
Yo, can y'all do me a favor?
On your team?
Haliburton.
The only player in the NBA I'm taking over Domantas Sabonis is Anthony Davis.
Say that again.
The only player in the NBA I'm taking over Domantas Sabonis is Anthony Davis.
So again, Ron, we'll ask the question again. Ox, if you had a pick to start a franchise today between Tyrese Haliburton, Domantas Sabonis, who would you take?
He just answered.
I'm taking the All NBA big, but y'all can choose who y'all want though. I'm curious to know who y'all pick.
I do have an All NBA point.
I know who I'm picking.
So I just a separate question. You could take SGA or Sabonis. You taking Sabonis?
You just said Anthony Davis.
I just said, come on, bro. Like I'm taking Domantas unless it's Anthony Davis. Like, if it's not Anthony Davis, I'm taking Domantas.
Yeah, baby. I just had
to answer the question, Ron. I'm building my unit around the All-Pro point guard. That's who I'm building my unit around. And I love Sabonis, but I'm building my unit around Haliburton.
So Swiper, you would go with Brunson over Hali?
I really try not to be this reactionary about stuff. I just think that, like, for me, I would have said Brunson was a top 12 player for so long, and then Hali had spurts where he was top 15. So I don't want to like jump off the bandwagon all the way around, but I do think,
which I'm not,
they're in the similar tier. Like I just don't want to overreact that much to Brunson in the series personally.
Swiper, we're not overreacting though. We seen Hali in the playoff last year.
Who's we?
Okay. You're not overreacting. It's nothing to overreact about.
Brunson was incredible in the playoffs last year until the hand injury.
I get that. Brunson's always been incredible in the playoffs. What I'm trying to say is with the whole Hali thing, we've got a large enough sample size. We've seen this is him going on his 3rd season of averaging of what, giving you damn near 20 and 10. 2nd playoff run, playing very well. All right, we've seen this. This is not new.
I do think they're in the same tier. I think the top tier is Shea, Luka, and Curry, and I think the 2nd tier is Brunson and Hali. And then I think the next tier is the Jaws and the Trays. I think Brunson and Hali are in their own tier.
if they win the NBA championship,
Where my boy Don at?
not
Why?
even
Yeah. Why is it?
Mitchell?
Why?
A shooting guard to me.
if they win the NBA championship, or let me rephrase that. If they just get to the NBA championship, can we have a comfortable conversation about Haliburton being a top 15 player or no?
Yeah.
Well, why is he
If
not? If he wins the title, shows the best player. Why is he not best player in the world talks?
Has he had that consistent playoff run?
Who's been better in the playoffs?
Okay, this year. Okay, I can get with that part. But has he? It's not just that simple, Swiper. And you know that it's not that simple.
In the playoffs.
And on top of that, he's not been the best player in the playoffs. He's been really good. I'm not going to argue that.
Who's been better that's remaining? And please say SGA.
I'm not saying SGA. No. Who's been better in the playoffs?
That's remaining.
Has he been better than Pascal Siakam?
Yes. He's our leading scorer, but we know why. Like he's there, like he's catching the ball from Hali.
Right. He still has to finish.
Pascal.
And it's not like he's just getting all layups. No, they're putting him in isolation. He's also on the defensive end. He's also on the glass. So he's also doing that other stuff. That's just on the offensive end. Right?
You don't think Shea's better than Hali in the playoffs?
I think people are misremembering Shea's drops that he's had in for a whole first round. For 1, 2, 3, and then three games in Denver, and then now one game, the 14-point game versus
the last 4 games in Denver. He averaged 30.
Hali had a game,
and then he didn't shoot well in one of them, and then the last 3, yeah. But that's his scoring. I think his defense. I don't think he's been great.
Haliburton had a game where he had 4 points.
Yeah, that happens to Hali. Hali does that sometimes. But to Hali's credit, though, it seems that Hali does that because I feel like he forgets just how good he is sometimes. Respectfully, I think he bows out a lot offensively.
Is crazy. He's in the NBA Eastern Conference Finals.
But he did that in the regular season too, though. He'll literally I think that's Teron's point. He'll literally be like, even though he knows he's really the best scorer on the team, he doesn't act like it. Like sometimes he just doesn't. He's just like, I'm just going to pass the ball everywhere and just not go at it.
Pascal at scoring, but
he's a better scorer than Pascal for sure.
In their wins against Minnesota in the conference finals, SGA had 31-5-9, 38-3-8,
wins,
49-10.
Are you throwing out the loss?
Well, they lost one game.
Well, wait a minute.
They're up 3-1. The one game they lost, he had 14 points. In the wins,
so you throw out the game because they lost?
I mean, they're up 3-1. I don't think it matters that much. I think the 3 games
that is interesting.
The 3 games where he was elite.
Going
outweigh that one bad game.
Throw out the worst game in the series.
I'm not throwing it out, but I'm just saying, even if you add in that game, he's averaging 30.
See, and that's the problem that we have in Joel. The fact that he's averaging 30. See that, and that's where I'm getting brainwashed. Averaging 30. Then we get back to the scoring.
What does that mean?
See,
wait, has he been better? Joel, has he been better offensively than Hali in this playoffs?
No.
Yes, he has.
No,
he's been better offensively than Haliburton?
No, he has.
Yes.
No.
He's been better offensively than Haliburton in the playoffs?
Yes.
Overall, yes.
Why?
Offensively?
Why?
Or as a bucket getter?
Shea is not just averaging 30 in the conference finals. He's averaging 8 assists. And he also, like Haliburton, the turnovers are very low. He's not making the same type of passes that Hali's making. A lot of his assists are coming a pass away, but the way he's breaking down the defense on a consistent basis and getting to his spots, he's a generational scorer. And he's been amazing. These playoffs. Outside of the Grizzlies series, he's been amazing these playoffs.
In the Nuggets series, he was phenomenal in the whole series.
They were down 2-1, and the big reason why they came back and won the series was because of his play.
Yes, in game. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to litigate this. I think for me, if you're saying that he's been better than Hali offensively, given the responsibility Hali has with that team, I just think that's just not true.
What responsibility does Shea is?
There's no guard. There's no guard. And this is where I'm with Patriots fans. I'm with Ron. There's no guard in the league that has more responsibility to his team's offensive success as a playmaker, passer, driver, connector, all of it, than Hali. There's nobody.
That's a lie.
There's no one. No, I'm saying there's no one.
Shea has more responsibility offensively than Hali.
The offensive. This is what I'm saying. The offensive ceiling that the Pacers reach is directly due to Hali's involvement.
What are you using to? What are you using to?
I'm pulling it up right now.
What are you using as a stat to show the responsibility?
I'm going to it right now.
Are you using usage percentage? Are you using possessions? Are you using touches?
Hold on. Let's go to this. Hali. Let's see here. Go to Tyrese Haliburton. Please speak because it's gonna take me a minute to pull this. Hold on.
If there's not a my question, Ron, is with SGA offensively, how good, to your point, Joe, how good SGA has been offensively with the 8 assists. A lot of that stuff that they do, and let's not overlook that a lot of stuff that they do is on defense. So a lot of stuff that he gets is in transition, layups, or for turnovers, stop and pop, stuff like that. Haliburton, on the other hand, as a lead guard, with that offense, conducting that offense, distributing, getting guys in the space that they need to get into, having that offense humming like it hums, right? For him to be more effective, for him to be less effective than SGA, that means that he would be turning the ball over more. That means that offense wouldn't be doing what it's doing, but it is. And it's doing that largely due to his ability to take care of the ball.
Shea's not turning the ball over, though. In the Denver series, he averaged 2 turnovers per game. And then right now in the Minnesota series, he's averaging around the same. For the entire playoffs, Hali's averaging 2 turnovers. It's around the same. Like
whoa. That's where this is what I'm saying where we get lost. Hali threw
Shea is their entire half-court offense.
Hali threw 77 passes yesterday.
That's ridiculous.
So this is what I'm understanding. You mentioning the turnover rate with not including the amount of times Haliburton is passing the ball, that's also a part of the issue. If you're just doing basic stat watching, I'm with you. But the fact of the matter is, because Hali is throwing in the league 70 to 80 passes a game and turning the ball over 1 or 2 times on that kind of volume puts him in a stratosphere that Shea cannot reach as a passer. So even when you bring up the
that's just in this playoffs alone.
Haliburton is a better passer than Shea.
But you just said Shea's averaging 8 assists a game. You just said that.
No, we talked about the low turnovers. And
but you said this, Joel. You said
OKC's entire half-court offense?
No, you said 5 minutes ago that Shea's averaging 8 assists a game. And then you directly compared that to Tyrese Haliburton.
He's not averaging 8. Never had.
And he's averaging 6.9.
No, he's averaging 8 in the conference finals.
He's averaging 6.9 over the course of the playoffs.
7 assists. Okay, 7.
He's giving you 30.
And
30 and 7.
But this is what I'm talking about. This is where you're bringing up the scoring gravity stuff, which I'm cool with. But we've already discussed.
That's why he's getting doubled in triple team. That's why.
Why is Hali not getting doubled in triple team?
That's why Denver guarded Shea in the way they guarded him.
Why is Hali not getting guarded like that?
So can I use that?
Because he's not the scorer Shea is. That's why.
That's a legit point.
Or also, if you blitz Hali, you're getting flamed across the board.
If you blitz Shea, you're getting flamed too. They just rather live with other players getting it going because they don't want Shea to get it going in the half court.
But
even though
Shea is not the connected passer that Hali is, though. We just had this discussion.
Are you telling me Shea can't beat a blitz?
What are you talking about? A score?
Shea has as a passer.
Shea is not at all the level of double team player as he is.
Shea has beaten double teams this entire playoffs.
Joel,
what are you talking about?
You're talking about the scoring stuff. He's not the passer out of those same actions as Hali.
Coincides with the playmaking. I understand,
but
because his scoring is so great that they have to trap him.
Joel, you brought up the assist initially, and so the counterpoint that I'm bringing up the assist is the volume of the assist. And
your initial point was that Haliburton is more responsible for his team's offense, which is not true. Shea has just as much of a load on his offense.
Yes, for the Pacers offense.
What number are you using? Is it the passes that he made, or is it the touches? Is it the usage percentage?
I'm gonna pull this up. Go to this. Let's go to simple like PvP stuff for Hali, and then including the volume of the passing and everything else. I would make an argument that Haliburton's been the best offensive player in the playoffs, all things around. I think that's a fair argument.
Jokic.
Yes, I think Jokic did not, and in part because of who he was playing against.
Wow.
I think in part because of who he was playing against. I think that matters. Like I think it does matter. Like in part who you're playing against. Wow. OKC, he didn't have his best scoring series. We can all agree with that collectively. He didn't have best scoring series. The Clippers, he didn't have his best scoring series. I think that matters. I think the playmaking with the turnovers, all of that stuff, all added up. I think Jokic had less of an offensive impact than everyone expected him to in the playoffs so far. Is that fair?
So what number are you using? Because you still haven't mentioned it.
So you didn't answer the question. All right.
No, because you're just talking in circles.
You asked me a question about Jokic.
That showcases at Haliburton.
You asked me a question about Jokic and I brought it up.
Responsibility.
I'm saying you asked a question about Jokic.
But I'm just trying to get to your point of why you think Haliburton has more offensive responsibility than
So
Shea.
I think any player that's having to throw the amount of, and just for context, I want to make sure everybody understands this. So this year in the playoffs, OKC has a 114.36 offensive rating with SGA on the floor. That's excellent. Joel, they have a 126 with him off the floor this year, in part because they score in transition and their defense leads to opportunities and points. So like it's elite. That's very good. But this year in the playoffs, let me see, go to this. The Pacers have a 123 offensive rating with Hali. 123. In part because of the passing and the playmaking and the scoring gravity. So what I'm saying is I don't think there's a player that's been more impactful because of the way he bends the defense on every single possession, and he can take advantage of it as a creator, scorer, or as a shot maker over the top. And on top of that,
at first,
the 3-point shooting.
What you said at first was that he's more responsible for his team's offense.
Yes.
If you said that he is leading a better team offense, I would have agreed with you, and that's what you basically cited. But to say he's more responsible, he's more responsible.
I think the passing matters.
No, because Shea's usage percentage in the playoffs is 32.1.
Not bringing up usage.
Tyrese's is 23.5.
What does that mean?
That's what it is. That Shea has a higher usage percentage than Tyrese Haliburton. Using usage percentage means, Joel. Using usage percentage is how often you are used in that possession.
No, how often you're finishing the possession. How often you're finishing the possession.
Shea is finishing more possessions than Haliburton.
Because of scoring.
So how is he not more responsible for his offense? You can say Haliburton is leading a better offense, but Haliburton,
Joel, you're just running through it. The other end of this is the fact that Hali is the engine behind the passing and the scoring.
So
it's not the same level, in order creating the same outcome.
They're not creating the same outcome.
123, but Joe, a 123, the 123 in the playoffs versus the Bucks, versus the Cavs, and now versus the Knicks. And on top of that, he's throwing 70 passes a game. He's more efficient across the board. He's shooting super well in this run. He's passing, he's scoring, he's doing all of it. The dude just had a 32-15 game.
We're not arguing.
That might be the best offensive game so far in the playoffs.
I'm not arguing that Haliburton isn't having an elite impact on his offense.
Yes, I think he's been the most important. I think he's been the best offensive player in the playoffs.
He's having an elite impact on his offense. My whole thing is that you're trying to act like Shea is not the engine of OKC's offense.
I don't think it's
which
the same
is
degree.
Wrong.
No, because he is the engine of his offense. But the reason, Joe, he is the engine. No, I didn't say he wasn't the engine. That was never what I said. I said if I'm comparing him to Tyrese Haliburton,
he has a higher usage percentage than Haliburton.
Joe, but you keep citing usage percentage.
All right, so cite
finishing
touches,
a possession.
Cite touches.
But hold on, but Jokic has a lower usage percentage relative to all of his peers, and he's the best offensive player in the sport. So what does that mean?
But we're not measuring who is a better offensive player. That's not the argument.
You brought up usage percentage to argue for
their half-court offense.
But Joe, why does it work for you if you argue usage percentage for SGA versus Hali? But if I bring in that versus Jokic, who has a lower usage percentage, who's a better offensive player, why do you then delineate that point? Why does that matter?
Shea, his usage against Denver, he was just as responsible for his team's offense as Jokic. They were both just as responsible. And I would say OKC did a better job denying the ball away from Jokic.
Absolutely not.
Why did he see the defense?
And the reason being is because of all the things that Jokic has to do on and off the ball for Denver to survive. That's just not true. I'm saying now you're getting into a conversation I think you don't want to have overall, because everything that Jokic does is what makes him as an offensive player, including the screening and the offensive rebounding and the passing and the connecting and the post work and the high post work, all of it, including the shooting, including the ISO scoring on the box, all of it.
So you think that Haliburton has been better than Shea in the playoffs, and
as an offensive player,
just as responsible
more
offensively than Hali, than Shea.
More. I said more. I think he's better offensively and more responsible.
So you think Haliburton's been a better offensive player than Shea in the playoffs, and earlier today you said that Shea has been a bad defender in the playoffs. So why did you just have to single out offense?
In particular versus the Nuggets. In particular versus.
So you think Haliburton's been better overall than Shea then?
No, I don't. I don't know. The conversation I asked earlier, who's been better than Hali? I don't think Shea has been better than Hali. Yes, he has. To you, that's cool, but to you, but I think Hali had clear impact on his team.
Everybody has been watching these games. It's Shea.
He has been better than Haliburton.
because of the scoring.
This is the only reason I would push back. And yes, Swipe, it would be because of the scoring. But the reason I would push back with Hali, and just to be clear, I actually got Shaq. But the reason why I would push back with Hali is because the moments he's giving you. 3 game winners.
Who's been better in the clutch?
Cranking it up in the fourth quarter, come back. Oh, it's been Hali, 100%.
Okay.
100% Hallie's been better in the clutch.
Though. They keep having to come back.
True.
Joel, are we giving
He was 12 for 12 at one point in the playoffs.
Are we giving Haliburton too much credit here?
He's been going crazy
because of the offense and the way it's ran. Are we giving Haliburton too much credit here?
No, he is the system.
And
he is the system.
I feel like that's the point.
And Haliburton, I've been talking high on him for years now, so I know how special he is. But Shea is also the system for OKC, and that's what I was arguing. It's
a different system, though, Joel.
But the system is ran through him, and it's more ISO-centric.
Right, and that's the
point.
Get
up to his spots.
But listen to what you just said. It's more ISO-centric, and it's him getting to his spots as opposed to the defense. Not one particular player.
How is Hali not the system?
Hold on for a second. Not one.
Does PJ do the same shit? Go ahead, Chip.
Not one particular player, Joel, because again, I think that SGA is more of an isolation guy and he's looking for his buckets. I feel like Haliburton puts the entire defense more on their heels, not only because of his ability to score, which
is Hali not the system.
Which I don't think that is on the level of SGA, but I feel like because of how many of those other guys he operates and gets those guys involved, he puts.
But Ron, you just said that OKC's offense would be better with Hali over SGA. Why is that?
Well, first off, like, yes, SGA is heavy in the system. I'm gonna tell you why I think they would be better with Hali. Because once again, J-Dub is an all-star, all-NBA player.
All 13 all NBA.
Last time I checked, he's averaging 25 in the playoffs. Last time I checked, he gives you 22 points a night. Hali doesn't have another 22-point scorer with him. With the Pacers, but if you put him over there, he has one. On top of that, guys like Chet, guys like Cason Wallace, guys like iHeart, guys like Isaiah Joe, who comes off the bench with that spark, he would make these guys better.
Ron, stop acting like Pascal Siakam is like a 16, 17 a game guy. Pascal Siakam is the real deal.
Hey, wait, chill. Did you know that Tyrese Haliburton, Ron, to your point, did you know that Tyrese Haliburton is throwing 31 more passes a game than SGA?
31 more
on a lower turnover percentage.
I'm sure of that.
Yeah, he's a passer. That's what he does.
Oh, okay.
But also he's throwing those passes. And in this series against the Knicks, there have been 2 games where he's had under 21 points. What we saw last night, 35, 12,
doing the points thing though, like 15? Because you just said Jokic is the best offensive player in the sport, and he doesn't have to score.
The reason why Shea is not throwing as much passes is because he's looking for his shot. He's a score first player. That's what he is. These are 2 different archetypes of players. Shea is not throwing as much passes because he's looking for his shot first. If the doubles come, then he's throwing those passes. But OKC's offense is different than Indiana's in the way that it's not a fluid offensive system. It's not we're just passing the ball around in the half court and doing our thing. It's Shea in the half court, get into his spots. If they gap up those drives, pass to the wings and attack those closeouts or shoot an open 3-point shot. That's what OKC's offense is. That's what it's predicated on. Haliburton is going to throw more passes when it's more connected.
Is what you're saying? Is he more limited offensive player?
No, he's not a more limited offensive player. He's not as good of a passer as Haliburton, but he's way, way, way better as a scorer. He's an elite level scorer. That's why he won MVP, because of his scoring. He can get to his spots and he can pick apart and continue to be patient in the half court with the best of them. I mean, he has not been sped up at all in these playoffs. He has played within his own pace and he has consistently made the right reads for most of the playoffs. Shea has.
Yeah, my thing is scoring is always king. Like when you're able to score at that elite level, that's always going to trump a very good distributor. And so that to me, that's the only thing that just gives it does, Chill. But we all know, like at the end of the day, that's why Luka, SGA, and guys like Giannis are in that next tier. Jokic as well, but he gives you that elite scoring and he gives you the elite passing.
And
well.
Ron,
So
to that
he's
point,
just kinda,
if we look at players passing in the playoffs, even though Haliburton is throwing more passes than Shea, Haliburton's averaging 16.1 potential assists, and Shea's averaging 15.3 potential assists in the playoffs. It's not to say he's a better playmaker than him. It's just to say that he is creating tons of shots for his teammates because of that scoring gravity. So even though he's not making as advanced reads or passes, he is creating those shots for his teammates. And OKC in the playoffs has not shot well from three, while the Pacers as a team collectively have been the best 3-point shooting team in the playoffs.
I think that's because of Hali, though. Like, but
Aaron Nesmith's also shooting 50% on threes.
Well, I think it's the type of looks he's creating. I think that's also to the point.
Shea's creating open looks for his teammates too. They're just not making their shots.
It's not the same type of look though. Like I think Shea throwing a pass.
It's also not the same type of shooters. Do you think OKC has better shooters than Indiana?
Away off of a double or off a trap. I think it's obviously an important pass.
That's an open shot is an open shot. I'm
agreeing with you, but I'm saying that the advantage of creating that kind of look versus what Hali is doing, and I think that's the other side of it, is Hali is creating these looks that are either across four or same side action just on the overload. You do have to guard him as a downhill scorer, not in the same way. But then also on top of that, if you leave him open as a shooter and what he's doing, and then on top of that, like where the advantages and how the court is being leveraged now because of Hali and where he is. I just think like
an open 3-point shot.
It depends on what you're buying.
I mean, an open 3-point shot is an open 3-point shot. There have been plenty of shots.
Open 3-point shot to a bad 3-point shooter, though. Like that's what I'm saying. Like,
but there's a difference. Lou Dort in the regular season was 40% on his threes. In the playoffs, he's dropped off and not been able to hit his shots, and they leave him consistently open. Jalen Williams has not been able to consistently hit his shots from three. We've seen players on the Pacers; they have upticked their percentage from three in the playoffs, and yes. Does that have to do with Haliburton creating looks? Yes. It also has to do with those players just being hot. When they came back in game one, was it Haliburton creating those looks for Aaron Nesmith, or was it Aaron Nesmith just going on a heater and creating his own looks and the Knicks not defending it well? It goes hand in hand. So I'm not knocking Haliburton for the looks he's creating, but we're not also going to act like these players for the Pacers aren't just shooting absurdly hot right now.
16 and a half, like, potential assist a game, by the way. So just kind of how the status.
He still had to go to him though. To your point. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, do y'all think that this Pacer style of play is sustainable for longer than this season? Obviously, they're playing really good right now. They're hot. They can win a championship. Yeah, can they be championship contenders beyond this season?
Yes, they were last year with this same thing.
Yeah, because they have a great player leading them. They have an all-star behind him, and they have great depth around him. Mm-hmm. And even if you want to use the Davion Mitchell was in the sample size, number 1 was Cade, number 2 was Davion, number 3 was Jokic, number 4 was Hali, number 5 is Shea, number 6 was Giannis, number 7 was Harden. So, I mean, a lot of great playmakers. Davion is like the exception here that was there, but all of the great playmakers are basically within the top 5 of that stat.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
I also think this, to be honest with you, though, I think this is the future of basketball. Just like the double big lineup, I think the lead guard being more of a distributor. I think this is a copycat league that we live in, and I think that I ain't gonna the scoring guard ain't dying. Let's be clear about that. I ain't saying that the scoring guard is over. I want to make sure that we clear on that. I think the scoring guard is still alive and well, and I still think he'll still be used. But I do think the teams will look more for lead guards who are more of distributors than they are scorers. And I think that they'll implement that more in their offense.
Yeah. I mean, you don't just find like a Haliburton growing on trees. Like, it's not just 6'5" point guards who can do all the stuff he can do. You're not going to just find that regularly. But what I do think will happen is because of the way that Tyrese Haliburton is playing, I think that kids are going to start seeing that and thinking it's cool. Because like we grow up, everybody's seeing all these scores.
Are they though? I mean, because Trae Young been a distributor for years.
Trae Young's still a scorer though.
Yeah,
but Trae Young, he's just not as like efficient as like.
No, he's not.
I think other guards, and so that's where Trae Young criticism comes from. And he's a legitimately like maybe the worst defender in the sport. So like in terms of high minute player,
he's making it cool to like be a facilitator and like that be your main thing. I think a lot of like players or people growing up, like high school kids and younger, are gonna see that and be like, all right, I can do that, and I can be this type of player rather than having to feel like I got to score 20 as a point guard.
Right.
Do you think that this is replicable for the Hawks with Trae Young when Jalen Johnson comes back next year?
Yeah, if they had Buchanan to GM, but no, they don't. So probably not.
I don't think
their team building is not great. They traded 3 unprotected for DeJounte Murray. So they're
they got Dyson though. They got him back in the trade when they traded DeJounte. That was good.
Back in the trade.
I think the Hawks.
Fellas, I want to read some of these super chats. And then I also have a couple more questions. And then we have another game that we have to get to tonight as well. I want to speak briefly on the Timberwolves and the Thunder game 5 and get you guys' prediction. But before we do that, my man Arch sent through 2 super chats. The first one, he said, common dub from Swiper.
Yeah, I mean, Embiid or Bam Adebayo or Tobias Harris. That's kind of how we wax it down by this point. They know ball. Hali's obviously been the best offensive player in the playoffs, so shout out to my dog. And I didn't bring up the SGA for Hali thing. That was Ron, by the way, who said the offense would be better. I just ran a poll. That's all I do. I just run polls for people. Mars isn't here, so I'll do it.
Speaking of which, I'm running a poll right now. Who's been the most impactful offensive player in the playoffs? SGA's winning with 43%. Hali's at 39%. Jokic is at 12%, and Jalen Brunson is at 6%.
Jokic at 12%.
Yeah, we didn't even watch the Thunder series. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, agendas.
I think to your point, Joel. I mean, they rely so much. Oklahoma City relies so much on SGA as a bucket getter. I mean, what team doesn't rely on their leading scorer to be, their guy? And it's not just that SGA is their leading scorer. He leads the league in scoring, so they rely on him heavily in order for their offense to run, right? Particularly scoring. Now, to that point, they rely heavily on Tyrese Haliburton's ability to get everybody else involved in the game, and they don't rely on him as much as a scorer. So I feel like those two things between both Haliburton and SGA, I feel like they're both right there, because as much as they rely on SGA as a bucket getter, I feel like they rely on Haliburton just as much as a distributor and for guys to finish plays and him putting those guys in spaces.
If the NBA Finals is the Pacers and OKC, we'll see one guy thoroughly outplay the other.
So
who's it going to be?
Wait. No, hold on. Wait a minute. No, wait, hold on. Wait a minute. This is why this is so nasty, and this is why Joel is such a capper. I can't wait. I would love to come back on Pick a Side News with you. I haven't done this in years, because this is so.
You think?
So
I think Shay's going to outplay.
Wait. Hold on, dog. Joel, I really need you to wake up. It's not SGA versus comp. SGA has the best defense in the history of the sport on his end that he is not having to participate in as a top 6 rotation defender. And then that is the difference. SGA is playing versus the Pacers. Guess who has eaten versus the Pacers in the playoffs? Giannis, Donovan Mitchell, Brunson.
All great players.
Time. And then now SGA is going to average 34 a game, just like Giannis did.
So you got him frying them out. You got them frying them.
He's frying. He is going to fry the Pacers, because the Pacers haven't guarded number 1 options well the entire year. Hali's going to be playing versus the OKC defense. That is not the same thing at all. And it's disgusting that you would even try to make that mark. He's going to vastly outplay the other person. Yeah, when Hali has to see Dort and Caruso and Dub and Wallace and Chet and Hart while SGA is over there hiding on Obi Toppin, you're right. I do think Haliburton's going to struggle in that series.
Which, by the way, Joel, like, what happens if Hali carves up that defense?
I don't think Hali. I don't think Hali is.
Saying, Ron, I'm just.
Which he's going to.
What happens?
I don't.
He might have a stinker or two, but he gonna get busy.
I don't think Hali is going to play bad against OKC's defense. I think their connective offense is actually going to put up a fight, and I love the stylistic matchup between the two. But what I've noticed from you, Swipe, is that you're just doing everything in your power to discredit SGA. I mean, I guess it's a trend for you. Did it last year.
You're in the chat. I'm not saying he's been the best player in the playoffs.
I think that Shay.
We got down to the bottom of it finally.
Against Minnesota, who Jaden McDaniels is one of the premier defenders in the league.
I think their defensive strategy has been horrible. To be fair, that one-on-one nonsense they're doing is horrible. Yeah, I think it's horrible.
I agree. Outside of Game 3, they've been playing one-on-one defense, but
I think it's
he has been frying Jaden McDaniels. Against Denver. I mean, we're not going to act like they didn't play a heavy zone against them. And then he figured out the defense. And then over the last 4 games, they went 3-1 in large part because of his play.
There's some injuries and stuff as well. And Jokic obviously didn't shoot well.
Shea in the clutch of those fourth quarters, last 4 games, he was very exceptional. Shea was.
Well, I mean,
right now,
but the reason they won one of those games is because non-Jokic Nuggets put 1 of 15 from the field in the fourth. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
okay, but
context.
also Jokic has had his bad shooting nights in that playoff series as well. That
games,
also led
two,
to
and 3 and 4.
their losses. Shea is number 2 in the playoffs in points per game in the fourth quarter overall. So I think in it's in clutch time. It's in clutch time. He's 4.9 points per game in clutch time. Hasn't shot the 3 ball well, but is getting to his spots overall. And he's number 3 in clutch time scoring, only behind Brunson and Haliburton, they've both been amazing in the clutch. Yeah, Haliburton has been great, but I think for the entirety of the game, Shea has been better than Haliburton in these playoffs. And Minnesota, we're going to act like it's not a competition. They had a top 10 defensive rating in the NBA this past season, and Shea is still carving them apart, and he's averaging 30. So I don't think that we can just overlook that. And the Pacers also since January have had the 8th best defensive rating. So it's not like they're facing a bottom 10
regular
defense.
season stuff
since January.
Since January.
Yeah, but we're not in the regular season anymore.
For
obvious reasons, I don't think the regular season should be referenced at all. Like the Nuggets were the 22nd ranked defense in the regular season and one of the best in the playoffs.
So Shea faced one of the best defenses in the playoffs, and Minnesota's defense has been also
due
great
to coverage. But Minnesota's defense hasn't been great though. Like I just don't even think that's really an argument though. Like
Minnesota's defense wasn't great against the Lakers.
I agree with you. I think their strategy is dumb. I think they have a bad strategy. It's not working out for them. I think if they play versus a better Warriors team that didn't have no Steph Curry, like we could be having different conversation. I think the issue with Minnesota is their offense is so dependent on the 3 ball. And I think like they're not getting criticized enough. Like if this was the Celtics, this would be a different conversation. They're so reliant on the 3 ball. I think Anthony Edwards last game didn't have a great scoring game. I think the playmaking, the leveraging, all that stuff was fine. I had no issue with it. But I think the other end of this, I think Minnesota, like I said, by the way, Joel, going into the series, this is a mismatch. Because Minnesota can't out-execute and they can't out-tough and out-defense OKC. I just don't think that's a good matchup for them. A horrible one. I thought they were getting washed.
But a big reason why they're also getting cooked is because Shea is a generational scorer and he can't be guarded one-on-one. That's also a big reason. They had 2
players for 35 or more last game. Like you're probably going to lose that game. Yeah.
I mean, J-Dub has been exceptional, and Chet, they both have matured a lot.
21 points.
All I'm saying is that
really
a big reason why OKC's in this position is also because of Shea, and his value cannot be overlooked. Like you're trying to overlook his value in this.
He's the best player on the team. That was never the original conversation. The conversation about him offensively with Hali. I chose Hali. That's literally all it was.
Well, I think the responsibility is just as equal given how many half-court possessions Shea is in complete control of when it comes to OKC's offense.
Majority of their points
I think the Pacers have a better offense with Haliburton. He's a great offensive player, obviously, and most of their starting they play exclusively with their starters with Hali. When it's their bench, their entire bench guys come in. It's TJ with Mathurin, with Obi Toppin, with Bradley. When Haliburton's on the floor, he's playing with only the starters as well. Shea is playing with a lot of bench lineups.
What?
Absolutely he is.
What does that mean?
What if you have more offensive players that are better around you, your offensive floor is going to be higher on each given possession versus Shea. He is playing with a lot of defensive slanted. He's playing with defensive slanted lineups because he can carry that type of load offensively.
Well, I think that's just the way. Like,
you got to play him like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Like the OKC's thing is their defense. Like that's what makes them like indomitable. I know their thing is their defense, but I'm saying the reason why they can still stay afloat offensively is because of how elite of an engine Shea is. That's why I think he's just as responsible. I agree with you.
OKC's offense
the larger point about OKC for me is that even when Shea struggles, like they're still in the game and or winning the game because of their defense.
How many games has Haliburton struggled and have the Pacers been in the game this playoffs?
But I know, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think Haliburton's leverage offensively isn't just his scoring. I think it's just different players and different archetypes. But we can move on to the next one because I know we don't regurgitate this again.
Well, I mean, to add to that point, the games where Haliburton struggles, they lose. So
they're in the games though.
It's been a couple games.
They're in the game that SGA struggled in versus Denver though.
I know, but I'm not saying that they're not in the games with Shea. I'm just saying it's also like that with Hali. If Shea doesn't play well, for the most part, they also lose.
What?
Yes.
We talking about like regular season again, or are you doing playoffs again? Which one? I don't know.
Right now, playoffs versus Denver in the games that he struggled. Did they win?
Swipe, are
They
you
won.
arguing? Are you arguing that
he very rarely plays bad though? Like, we gotta remember that.
Swipe, are
That's
you
Well,
arguing
it's,
that
it's
if-
continued on his shooting. Yeah, like it just depends on the shooting. Go ahead,
100%.
Chill.
Like if Shea doesn't have it going, that hampers their offense. Because now they got to lean on them other dudes.
Well,
even
yeah,
more.
there was just the J-Dub game in game
Yeah.
3 where he had 32. Shea had like 19 or 18 or whatever else. Yeah, they lost, but they lost him like for that game 3. That was a game 3. It was a game 3.
Sure. I mean, they got
Haliburton has won a game in these playoffs versus the Bucks. He had 10 points, 3 for 13. They won by 19 points.
That was the first game of the playoffs.
Yeah, that was the first game of the playoffs.
First game of the playoffs versus Memphis.
Versus the
I believe they won.
Cavs in game 4, he had 11 points, shot 3 for 8, and they won by 20 points. Game 2, he had 14 points, 5 for 16 against the Knicks. They won 114 to 109.
But
Well, the
hold on,
scoring-
though.
the
Don't
scoring
just throw
average
out
is
don't just throw out the scoring. What were his assist numbers like too?
I was about to ask.
That's
And,
Haliburton's
versus-
biggest impact.
Versus the Knicks, he had 11 assists.
And how many turnovers?
He had 1 turnover.
Oh my God.
Versus the Cavaliers.
11 to 1 assist turnover.
Versus the Cavaliers in game 4 when they won by 20, he had 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. But I think that game, he only played 26 minutes. And then versus the Bucks, it was 12 assists, and he played 34 minutes.
And how many turnovers? I'm sorry.
I can check that. He had 1 turnover, and then
Ox, what
against
we
the
doing,
Cavs,
11
2
assists, 1
turnovers.
turnover, 12 assists, 1 turnover. You kidding me right now?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
You know what though, Chill? That's fire. You know, that's just fire. You can't say that.
right
But you
now?
know what though? Hold on though, Chill. I gotta say.
12 to 1, 11 to 1.
That's I got a problem with that. You know what? I got a problem with that because just like check me out though. Because if my big man, if we in the game and my big man only has 1 foul, I'm getting on his ass. Like, what you doing? You ain't hit nobody.
This is not a
Now,
good correlation.
If my point guard don't throw no turnovers, I'm gonna be like, yo, what you weren't trying nothing? Like, yo,
You could say that if he didn't have double-digit.
He wasn't just
thread the needle. Thread the needle. What you
1965
doing?
when he's just
He had
Like,
double-digit
those-
assists.
those-
doing this. He's making.
Have some fun, young
100%
fella. Throw some turnovers.
He was, no,
What you
I thought
doing?
I thought them
Last
turnovers. He was throwing through tight windows, 100%. He was just
Yeah.
hitting guys when they supposed to get hit. That's all. He wasn't doing it on
Nah.
the regular. So absolutely, man.
No, yeah. I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun.
Absolutely.
That's
I
crazy.
need you to
Like,
turn it over, bro.
yeah, but you know, man, just throw something, man. Have some fun.
No look.
All right, y'all. Arch sent through another $100 super chat, and he said Shea was playing mid for 2 series until he faced the
He
Timberwolves.
wasn't mid against Denver. No, he wasn't. He was not.
Yeah, I think games 5, 6, and 7. I think he turned the series around for sure.
We need to get Arch over at SSN.
Hey, Arch, subscribe. You know what to do.
Mhm.
Hey, we love you, Arch.
Mhm.
Hunter sent through a $20 super chat and said, has SGA been top 2 these playoffs? Because games 1 through 3 versus Memphis, game 1, box score looks better than what he was. 3 and 4 versus the Nuggets, and game 3 versus Minnesota. Half of his games he hasn't been good in, and he's been mid on defense these playoffs.
Has he been mid?
Are we counting everybody in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's saying everyone in the playoffs.
He would still be at the top of the list.
I'd like to think so.
And I think number 1 is Giannis, even if it's on a low sample size.
I mean, we're doing this again. We're just doing this again.
Cowboy Bob said, Ron, I said Hali needs to score 25 plus points for y'all to win. I keep telling y'all I know the Knicks. Funny now, Swiper shows up. Love to hate. When I've been telling y'all this is an Eastern Conference Finals, and the Pacers were our true rivals. Pacers, go New York, go.
Oh, well, I think he was defending Thibs last time we talked, and Thibs hasn't had a good coaching series.
Haliburton. Did Cowboy Bob say Haliburton needs to score 25 in order for them to win?
He said Ron said it, I think.
No, he said that in the super chat yesterday.
He said he told Ron that.
Oh,
Yeah, in the super chat yesterday.
Interesting.
Pimp named Slickback
Has been
said
doing that.
1, Hali is not the best point guard, but he is top 10 player convos. 2, Ox should be banned from Hali discourse forever. 3, Brunson is one of the worst defenders in the NBA playoffs. 4, 5 picks and a swap for Mikal Bridges.
Who did y'all think Mikal Bridges was? I mean, like
he was just a system player. He's supposed to work with the system. He did his job. They just
and I've always had a problem with this, like the system thing. Okay, all guys are system players. All of them. We have to implement a system, and this system works. Jordan was a system player. Bryant was a system player. Shaq was a system player. Right? All of these guys are system players, and with them being system players, their game works within the system. It flourishes their game. We can't just say that we just give these guys the ball.
Well, I think he was meant to be a role player around the stars.
Joker is a system player. Joker is the system, but he's a system player, and they work around him. Jamal Murray.
I don't know if that makes sense.
But to me, the system is supposed to be for those other guys. The system ain't even supposed to be for the main guy because I'm under the impression that superstar players, this top 20, top 30 players, y'all supposed to be able to adjust and play basketball. You're supposed to be able to play different styles of ball. I'm tired of he's just heliocentric and that's just how he plays. That's how he plays. Right. Like that's all he can do. You know what I mean? You can't change your game. I think I think everybody is a system player, chill, but you got to be able to adapt to other stuff. You got to be able to be a complete hooper.
DBZ Stay sent through a super chat and said the Knicks defense was awful. They were giving up layups, and I don't want to hear a peep about Luka on defense. Brunson might be worse. He don't even try.
No,
yes, he does. I mean, that's still a bad offer.
Nobody's worse than Luka.
Not worse than Luka, but
Trae.
Every one of them has. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Worse than Your Highness Charles said, Ox, Sabonis is nowhere near, and I repeat, nowhere near Hali's level. Fox is nowhere near Hali's level. Stop putting them no names in Hali convos. Y'all traded away a superstar for an obese car salesman. Respect Hali's name.
Obese
car salesman?
I don't know who that is because he damn sure ain't talking about Sabonis.
He gotta be.
Yeah, he's cut. He's cut.
I mean, no way he's talking about Sabonis.
But yeah, Hali clears all those players for sure.
Yeah,
they definitely lost the trade. This is not going to be remembered as the Clippers SGA trade, but it's close.
My question is with Tyrese Haliburton because I just saw that super chat about him being in top 10 conversations. Like today, in May of 2025, where is Tyrese Haliburton comfortably in terms of players? Comfortably.
15.
Like, are you comfortable saying Tyrese Haliburton is the 16th best player in the game today?
No.
Is he better than Donovan Mitchell?
Yes.
No.
Yes, he is.
No, sir.
Yes, he is.
No, sir.
Donovan Mitchell is a better scorer, y'all.
Yes, he is. 100%.
We know how big scoring is.
Oh,
and Donovan Mitchell had a great run too.
Are you willing to say he's better than Devin Booker?
And why not? Chill if that's the case, if it's scoring.
Okay, well, first of all, it's not just the scoring. That's not why I'm saying that he's better, that Donovan Mitchell is better than him. No, that's not why I'm saying that. No, I'm saying that Donovan Mitchell is better than him because he does a lot of different things.
Like what? Better.
Okay, so he's I
slasher, yeah, for sure.
100%. I think he finishes at the rim better. So on the offensive side of the ball, on the offensive side of the ball, I will give Haliburton the edge as a distributor and as a playmaker. But as good as Donovan Mitchell is as a bucket getter, as good as he is as a playmaker, I do think that he's better than Haliburton on the defensive side of the ball. I think he shoots gaps better. I think he's better off the ball in passing lanes. I think he's better at recovering than Tyrese Haliburton. And I think he affects the game on the defensive end more than Tyrese Haliburton does.
I mean, it's just him and Garland are worst defenders in the rotation for real. So I mean, yeah,
worse. Yeah, no, I think the operative word is worse.
Well, yeah. I don't think Donovan's a good defender,
and I think he's better than Haliburton.
He's mid, maybe.
Yeah, I do think he's better than Haliburton. 100. I do think that, but. To my point,
he has Evan Mobley and Jared Allen around him. They still had a worse defense than the Pacers did. You know what I mean? It's like all the way around. So I don't know. I don't know. It's not.
They had a worse defense than the Pacers
did. Yeah, and definitely in the playoffs. I think the Pacers, to Joel's point, in the regular season, I think they were better defense over the last.
I think they were 8. I think if I'm not mistaken,
they slipped. They started slipping towards the end of the year.
I think they finished 9th overall this year in defense. If I'm not mistaken, 8th or 9th. I think Cleveland finished.
D Mitch is the best two guard in the game. Do you think Ant or D Mitch?
I think Donovan Mitchell's the best 2 guard in the game. I'm already on record saying that. That's not
who's faced harder defenses in the playoffs, Shea or Haliburton?
Who what?
Who's faced tougher defenses?
Defenses, more difficult defenses in the playoffs.
Coverages.
SGA. I think so.
For sure.
Yes.
And they guarding them different too.
Nobody is tripping on that Milwaukee perimeter defense. Nobody. There isn't anybody that's looking at that
Cleveland?
Milwaukee
How was
perimeter
Cleveland's
defense.
chill? I thought Cleveland's
defense 100% is much better. No doubt about that.
Well, Memphis didn't have a good D first round at all.
But
defense sucked, and Hali and SGA obviously was not good the first 3 games.
Well, their defense sucked. Their defense sucked because their offense
sucked. Yeah, they got 68.
Yes,
that
would explain it. A lot of Oklahoma City's offense came from them turning the ball over. And
I thought the Nuggets had nothing but cones though, Chill. So how is the defense good? Which one is it?
What are you talking about?
The Nuggets have good defense. Chill, do you think?
I don't think their defense was bad. No, I don't. I don't think the Nuggets defense was bad at all. No, they ain't Cleveland. They're not Oklahoma City, right? They're not some of the better defenses in the game, but they weren't awful neither. And there's some people, because Joker is associated with Denver and their defense. There are people who will think that Denver's defense is awful off the strength of Joker. I'm like, no, hang on. I mean, there's guys that will compete on the defensive end. Aaron Gordon will compete.
So
Jamal Murray will compete.
Swiper, you got Haliburton over Don?
As a player?
Yeah.
Or in the playoffs?
No, as a player.
I don't know because I had Donovan Mitchell over Hali all year, so I just don't want to switch that soon. I think it's close though. They're all on the same tier though.
So who you got Haliburton? Top 15?
Man, I don't know, bro. I gotta make our list. It's probably top 15.
I'm gonna
real quick, Swiper. So I'm gonna run down some players for you, Swiper. So again, we got the usual suspects: Joker, Giannis, Tatum, SGA, Luka, Anthony Davis, KD, James, Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Edwards, Steph Curry, Jalen Brunson. That's 12 guys right there. Wemby, 13 guys. Now we move into a different space, like Devin Booker, and then let's see, like Devin Booker, Trae Young, Sabonis, Jalen. I don't think Jalen Brown's not this season was he a top 15 player. No, I'm not going to argue that. Let's see.
It's Katie, and I guess this is a question, not a statement. It's a Katie argument. The just like the scoring and just like him, like his post up touches and
KD,
rim protection. Basically,
it's because it's KD 100%. Yes. So I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable having a Tyrese Haliburton top 15 conversation if they win the NBA championship or if they go deeper in the playoffs. Wow, like for him to move into the top 10.
Much is it, Chill? How much is this like your play style affects a team's ability to win more than others? But another player might be a better basketball player in a vacuum.
Well, this is what we just got finished talking about with Joel. I think that Brunson is better as a basketball player, but as a lead guard, how much he affects the game as opposed to how much Jalen Brunson affects the game outside of the buckets, right? Outside of the buckets, how much you affect the game and how important you are to that crew. In addition to you being able to score, not as a higher level as these other guys, but the way that you affect the game outside of the buckets, I think that's substantial for a guy like Haliburton. I think it's huge for him. So I'm comfortable having I'm comfortable having a top 15 conversation about Haliburton. I'm comfortable with that. Now, when we're talking about the top 10, like we moving them into that space, that's going to get uncomfortable, but I'm here for it though. I'm 100% here for it.
Well, we got to be prepared, Chill. We have to be prepared. We have to be prepared for them to make this run and us to go crazy for the whole offseason and continue to put him in top 12 conversations, top 15. And then we got to be prepared for the first 3-4 months of the season where everybody else is playing again. Where all 30 teams are playing again, and then we're not talking about him in that conversation. And so but I don't want us to look at it like we're flip-flopping on them or anything like that. That's just what basketball works. There's only 4 teams playing right now, so it's like Luka's not going to move up our ranks in these next couple weeks. He's not playing, so we can see where Tyrese will. But let's just be prepared to do what we did this year and push Tyrese back again until the playoffs come back around.
I know one thing, my boy Fry OKC. Y'all be ready for them conversations.
Which
That's all
ones?
I know.
Which
top
ones?
5?
You'll see when we get there.
Top 5.
He's gonna be calling him the best player in the world. He's gonna
He's gonna win. He's gonna win Eastern
It's gonna
Conference
get
Player
ugly.
MVP, which is the Larry Bird Trophy, and then if he wins the Bill Russell Finals MVP, chill, for someone who's a winner, like the winning thing.
Yes.
That's tough, man. It's tough.
All right, y'all. Cautious E sent through a super chat and said, bobblehead ball hog Brunson is not good enough to carry a team to a chip.
Was Becky Hammer right?
So
Ox?
Becky, I was just about to ask you that. I mean, Becky knows ball. I didn't understand the disrespect she got for just making a simple statement. You know what I'm saying? She's a basketball guru. Just because she's on the women's side now doesn't mean she don't know what she's talking about. You know, but I don't know.
All right, I got another members chat from John Cena. John Cena said, Brunson a 5'11 Luka with worse playmaking. LOL.
Oh, he disrespected.
Look, man, Penn is like Penn thinks he's such a revolutionary. Like he doesn't have this. He's picking the 68 win team to win the title. Yeah, we in the MVP. They're the favorite. They should win. I think most of us will pick them. The question is,
but let him cook, bro.
If the 4 seed, are they the 4 seed or the 5th seed? I can't remember what they were. If the 4 seed, if the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference wins versus a 68 win team, yeah, without a all NBA player this season, yes, the story is going to be.
You mean without an all NBA player?
Hali
Brunson didn't. Hali did make. He made 13. He made 13. They would one all NBA player and a third team member at that. Then yeah, it's going to be a great story. And I think people in the league will be like, "Wow, just how good was Tyrese Haliburton and those Pacers to take down a 68 win team?" Like, yeah, that's TC the Dawn. Penn's like Usain Bolt's the fastest man in the world. Yeah,
yo, Penn. It's I'm sorry that Swiper won't let you just live in the chat and do your thing without harassing you.
He's been acting like this OKC victim complex for the last month. Like they're one of the best teams ever. Yes, they should win the title. Like we're over here talking about what if the Pacers win, and he's like, please remember this. Remember what? That people want to see a good series instead of them winning 4-1.
Toast the Goat sent through a members chat and said, I'm sorry, I'm late. But have we spoken about Pyru Swiper?
I used to wear these all the time.
You ain't representing no set.
Where at? Where you used to wear that at?
Never seen it before.
Just used to wear bandanas, bro. I wear bandana. I wore one last night at salsa class. I wear bandanas.
Oh, you wore it to salsa class. Okay, I was just making sure you wore it in the right place.
Park Hill was a red inflamed area, so I didn't typically wear any colors at that point in time, just because why would I? I'm not dumb, so you know what I mean. It's not something I want to participate in. You know what I mean? Actively, I was an athlete. I was in the same locker rooms and going to workouts and training and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But red is my favorite color. If anyone wants to buy me like a birthday gift, my birthday is coming up. My red and black and gold are my favorite colors. So
that's why ain't nobody buying you shit, bro.
Ox, you definitely for sure will. Ox, you bought me something last year.
But stop. What?
Ox, what you get for his birthday last year?
Come on, bro.
Ox, my birthday coming up too.
I know. Actually, we was just talking about your birthday.
Ox literally bought this for me last year, a Magic Mouse. He said, "You're getting a new laptop, bro. Getting a new computer. Let me go ahead and buy this for you."
You just found the closest thing to you.
No, put that.
Oh,
back
he did.
up,
That's 100% what he just did.
Chill, relax. You came. First off, you came to link up in Orlando, and I'll be or Miami. I'll be back. I'll be back this summer. You're gonna be right there.
That's kind of weird that you want me to take you shopping.
Don't bother me. Doesn't bother me at all. Hey, look. And guess what? Hey, Ox, if you're that kind, don't bother me at all. Not one bit. Not one bit. Won't feel a way about it. I'll feel grateful.
Hey, basically, Swiper's saying,
never even trick on those before, bro.
That's what he's asking you, Ox. Can you trick on
bro, chill out, bro. Like, let's stay focused, dog. Stay focused.
All right, for sure. We got a super chat from Impanzu. My man Impanzu said, Dub Hali, job is not finished. Ron, bring Damo back. Y'all better be lucky Damo not here. Me and Damo will be turning shit up on this whole Hali thing. We got another members chat from Sev. Sev said, we know Elmer Blood is doing this to slight SGA.
Swiper told us confidently that Denver would beat the Thunder. Yeah, I picked the Nuggets to win the summer, and then went 7, and Aaron Gordon got hurt. And so I don't tell you, man, if they were fully healthy. 3 of their 6 players were injured. I'll tell you, and one of them's getting surgery as we speak. So Sound like one of us was right.
Elmer Blood is
shout out
that one of us was right.
That was crazy.
pretty wild.
Shout
I like
out
that.
Elmer
I
Blood.
like
Shout out to these suburban kids in the chat, man. Elmer
That
Blood.
was hard.
Shy Rankin became a YouTube member today. Shout out to Shy Rankin and Your Highness Choros sent through a super chat and said, "Yes, I am, Chill. He is not a 16-game player. When the birds start chirping and the weather gets warm, Sabonis disappears. Hali is way better than that scrub. Fuck out of here."
Why we keep talking about Sabonis?
That because am my screen reversed? So would it be that way?
This way. That's
Yeah,
why
look
we're
at
talking
that
about
sad
Sabonis.
face. Why the long face, Ox?
That's why
just
we're
my,
talking
that's
about
just
Sabonis.
how I look, bro. That's just my face, bro. Like,
We were talking. We
I
talking about.
can't change it. That's just
We
my
were talking
face.
about the all. We were talking about the all pro teams, and I had brought up.
Did my man dirty? Shit.
I didn't bring up Sabonis, and I thought my man was going to jump through the screen on me. I did.
How he not all NBA? You know,
I saw people on Twitter killing you about some chet take you had.
Oh, about him being fooled.
So this what happened, Jay. I wasn't even involved in the conversation. As a matter of fact, I was in the chat. You know what I'm saying, doing my thing, talking to the people like I like to do, and I think Chill said something about Chet being fooled in that game or whatever, and everybody lost it. He's the best out there. Hey, like, wait a second, just relax. So you're telling me that the best rim protector that we've ever seen can't be fooled? I'm like, yo, if a line, it was a hard layup. He made him work for the layup. So I'm like, okay, if a lion hunts a water buffalo and the water buffalo picks up a fight,
he's still
fooled.
Still
like
fooled.
that's all I'm saying. Everybody and you know how Penn do had an emotional reaction to it, lost it, and made it seem like I was saying Chet wasn't a good defender. Oh, he's this, he's that. Don't you know his at the rim percentages? And I don't even know what that got to do with the conversation. What do I care about all the percentages when I'm talking about in game 2, the whole first half, he was free eats. And yeah, he might have put up a little fight. So okay, then he's a gourmet meal. You know what I'm saying? He had to pay a little extra. You know what I mean? That's all, but it was still layup lines. That's all I'm saying. I don't understand how come I can't tell the truth about, like, for instance, so I want to make sure that everybody that's on my line about this situation, I want to make sure that y'all protected and defended Drew Holiday when he was getting absolutely obliterated by Jimmy Butler. I want to make sure that y'all was telling everybody, well, don't you know he's one of the best perimeter defenders that ever lived? Yeah. Like, you can still get your ass cooked up. So yeah, so I do think that there's been a couple of games in this series particularly where Anthony Edwards was getting to the rim at will. Julius Randle got to the bucket at will. I think that happens, and that doesn't take away from the fact that Chet is a great basketball player. I didn't say he was weak.
Which, you know by the way, this whole thing started with me saying that if Ant could get around, if Ant could get around that perimeter defense from Oklahoma City, I felt like Chet. I think he could have his way at the rim. The finisher that Anthony Edwards is at the rim, because I seen him punching on Chet earlier this season, throw it right over the top of him. I saw that earlier this year, and I felt like if he could penetrate that perimeter defense, I felt like he could eat at the rim. I felt like Chet was food in this year. I 100% said that. Yes, 100% I said that.
And mind you, me and Chill didn't click up and go at it about this. Chill had his point. I got my point. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened. Like I said, I was in the chat. Really wasn't, I wasn't paying attention. I just heard that, and I heard people lose their mind about it. And I was just like, well, it's possible for, the best rim protector you've ever seen in your life to get ducked in the paint. Like, it happens, bro.
It's okay.
He'll be
Shout
all
out to Elmer Blood once again. Andrew G sent through a super chat and said, "Go New York, go," with a laughing emoji, and said, "Only beat the Celtics because of injuries."
Are the street names still after the players right now?
Or what?
The street names.
I'm definitely coming down. Those are definitely
they made it to the conference final for the first time in 2 decades. That's a big deal.
Are you saying leave it up for the rest of the summer?
So I feel like, look,
that'd be a good idea.
If the Sacramento King made it to the conference finals, then they should celebrate that like they won a ring. Like, I mean, that's a big deal. They haven't been there.
The Suns did have a parade when they won the Western Conference Championship.
They did, as they should. It's a big deal for the city.
But I know the New York Knicks fan, and as much as the New York Knicks fan loves you today, Tomorrow,
what you mean they ain't going for that? They were bing bong when they were up 2-0 versus the Celtics.
When they winning, they in heaven, bro. But when they losing, it's purgatory, bro.
Swiper, I'm trying to tell you, brother. As much as they love you today, your shit will be on the curb tomorrow. It'll be right outside.
Now Brunson stamped. He stamped. Brunson stamped with them. He stamped.
I'm saying, but hold on, because we keep us out of this because we not superficial at all in Sacramento. We not.
Don't you have a beam?
We not selling. What is that? Why you be doing that? I'm saying something. You bringing up something that don't got nothing to do with nothing.
What are we doing?
What do you mean?
Having a beam is kind of superficial.
No, it's not.
How is it not superficial?
Why is it superficial, Ron?
Y'all showing
every
off
time they win,
they're trying to bling in the air.
We trying to put off our city. Put some purple in the sky.
What's the difference between that and Knicks?
No, stop it, because you wouldn't understand. What we basically saying is just put something in the air. You know what I'm saying? If you know,
what's
then
the
you
difference
know.
between that and
when we win, put something in there. All right, that's all we saying.
So y'all put this environmentally dangerous light into the light. What about airplanes when they flying by? They got to see this dumb beam.
You bet.
Hey,
that's a no-fly zone.
And then the aliens they look down like, oh, are they attacking? So that, if anything, what you doing?
No, this ain't no comic book, bro. What you talking about? First of all, Sacramento's a no-fly zone. Aliens know better. They can go play around in Denver if they want to. But look, what I'm saying,
Air Force base in Colorado. That doesn't make any sense. What do you got in Hali?
We got Air Force Base. What are you talking about? We got Bill Air Force Base, Travis Air Force Base, McClellan Air Force Base.
Ain't no planes flying out of there, bro. Watch out.
Stay focused. We're talking about basketball. Look, we not superficial people like that. You know what I'm saying? Them New Yorkers, they want to do all that crazy throwing garbage at people and shit because they want a couple basketball games.
California,
we wouldn't do that.
It's not superficial. Okay.
Hey, well, New York, since it's looking like you guys won't have a parade, we will happily invite you guys to come and join our parade in Indiana.
Our parade. I'm so serious. You hear this, dude? Sniper, do you hear this, dude?
I'm pulling up. I'm with you.
Hey, he's a polyamorous fan. That's what he is. He got two of them.
Straighten me out with Ron.
Y'all both depressed, disappointed fans.
Ron,
both of y'all in the two bottom corners.
Swiper, straighten me out with Ron. So which one was it? Was Milwaukee the wife and Indiana the mistress, or was Indiana the wife and Milwaukee the mistress?
Now, at this point, he's married to both of them. They're sister wives. Because that's the only way this works. Like he's going mad hard. Like he didn't just pick the Bucks to make it to the finals. And then but he gets no criticism for that at all whatsoever. Because as long as he has one of his teams in the situation, PC will let him live. Me, on the other hand, I got one team I stand for, and every time they do something bad,
the Clippers.
The whole show becomes about me. Ron, no, y'all let him skate and clap and do all this other stuff for two people. Whatever he wants.
All right, so we got another.
You don't know the pain of Joel, me, Ox, none of us. We have one team. One team.
One team too. You don't know the pain. You don't know the pain of somebody breaking into your house and taking your wife and taking her to the other city, hog tying her up and just taking her right in front of you. You don't know that pain, do you? You don't know that pain. And then you watch that franchise turn into Westbrook. Well, we drafted Westbrook, but they had Westbrook, Kevin Durant, James Harden. Yeah, I know. And we watched the hog tie get snatched right from him. Yeah.
And by the way,
hog tied her with a sock, with your gym socks. Just took her out.
This is how you know Penn is a casual and he is not an American citizen. You're wearing an Atlanta cap. Black people up here. Is this an Atlanta? Is this an Atlanta Braves hat? People that know baseball at all. No. What team is this?
Arizona.
This is nothing to do with the Atlanta Braves. Not one bit. Not one bit. Goodness gracious. All right. Next super chat. Goodness gracious.
Andrew G said, "Hey, Chill. I heard you thought the Knicks had divine intervention on their side. That may have been broken when the Knicks fans threw trash at that Pacers fan who's a firefighter. They don't deserve a finals appearance."
Number one, series isn't over. That's number one. And this would be the most divine intervention if the Knicks come back from 3-1. There wouldn't be anything more divine intervention than the Knicks come back.
That's evidence of a divine presence, right?
No doubt. And number two, that guy who had the Pacers jersey on, if I'm not mistaken, they flew him to Indiana, and he was actually at the game, and he got to meet all the guys. Yeah. So
that's what's up.
Yeah, he got.
Hey, how do you feel about Tyrese Haliburton's father being in the suite, Ron?
They should
He
have
need
let
to be
him
on the floor.
courtside. Yeah, they should have let him
That's where he
Yeah,
courtside.
but this shit is so corny. And Tyrese should have pushed the harder line for his pops too. Like, what you mean you can't? Because he helps himself. Fuck Giannis. What are you talking about? We protecting Giannis.
Okay, first of all, Ox.
Yeah, he not one of us.
Especially after Giannis pulled that bullshit with the basketball. Y'all remember?
Yeah,
that?
maybe that's what I was talking about the other day. It was acting like I don't remember that. How he was chasing them dudes down
that ball,
the
man. I'm with you. Hey,
we
fuck
protecting Giannis.
back on the court.
This is
His
what
dad
I'm
need to
Bro,
be
that was
courtside.
crazy. That was crazy. Tyrese should have pushed the line for his pops.
Okay.
Nigga, if my pops can't come to the arena, I can't come to the arena.
Cat need to
Bye
be
then. Bye.
Yeah,
You can't have that in the NBA. You crazy, Ox? Your pop running on the floor, getting in the star player face. What happened if Giannis knocked his ass out? How'd that look for the league?
Giannis ain't punching nobody.
Really? Giannis was in tears because how hot he was. He had to get a hold of himself.
Yeah, he ain't gonna punch nobody. He just gonna cry. He's a crybaby. Giannis, get off of who you mad at. He ain't gonna touch nobody.
Essentially, what happened is you just got off punishment. If you think that I'm gonna let your ass run through the city, you keep your ass right out there where I can see you. We'll talk about this later as time moves on. If you can act right, if we can get you closer to the floor, or to my point, if we can get you off the porch. But as of right now, you can go outside, but have your ass where I can see you. That's where you're gonna be.
He made one mistake.
That's where you're gonna be at.
It was an honest mistake. It was an honest mistake.
All I know,
get that man some grace. He's excited. He's excited for his son.
bro,
Man.
his son was wilding. He just did some crazy. He just lost his mind for a second. He had a nigga moment.
Free my man.
He just
Free Papa Haliburton, y'all.
And you did.
Left my man at a jail.
If I pull up to the game and I got a towel like that with my son on it, you got to see that shit. I ain't gonna lie. If I come with
And he was showing it to the fans. He wasn't even showing it to Giannis. Giannis' big ass just happened to be in the way. Like, you lost, nigga. Get your ass on somewhere. Move.
he said he was just in the way. That's crazy.
Yeah, big ass in the way. Move. And I'm talking to the fans. You right there because your 7-foot ass think I'm talking to you. The world don't evolve around you, Giannis.
With the Hali. With the Hali. That's what he said.
So nasty.
Hey, Giannis think everything about him.
Sent through a super chat and said, where does aggression fit in player rankings? Earlier, y'all said Brunson over Hali, but the Knicks need 30 plus from him to stand a chance. Should Hali be taxed for delegating to a better team? I love the show.
I don't want to hear none of that shit because as much as I hear Mamba mentality, that's one of the main reasons why Bryant is where he is because of Mamba mentality and how aggressive he is. So I don't want to hear none of that shit.
I mean, Magic wasn't an aggressive scorer either consistently.
100% he was. Yes, he was.
He was not consistently. We tragic
match. Yes, he was.
We no, he wasn't.
When the Reigns got turned over.
Here we go. We're lying. About 42 points. Yeah, 42 points in the game.
I ain't even talking about in 1980. I'm talking about when he started to lead.
He wasn't. No, he wasn't. Here we go. Hey, matter of fact, chill. Don't make me cook you. I'll be watching your stuff. You said something crazy. Talking about the athleticism of back in the day.
I seen that clip. Yesterday. I saw that yesterday.
Hey, he could do that right now. Today, Ron could do that today, right now. And Ron ain't played a meaningful minute of basketball in 12 years.
Could you throw the ball off the glass? Ron, could you throw the ball off the glass from the free throw
behind your legs, Ron, and do a reverse dunk?
Catch the ball and dunk it back.
And do a reverse dunk.
Can you do that today, Ron?
Ron's not 6'1". Ron's not 6'1" either.
I swear to God. I swear. I know.
Kenny's 6'3".
I know
Ron's way bigger. Ron's way bigger than Kenny Smith.
You know what's the thing?
Well, Kenny's 6'3". What are you talking about?
You described what happened perfectly. It's just
it sounded so
in
crazy.
my head. I thought it sounded better.
You thought it was some whole other shit.
It sounded
when you actually saw it and you thought about it, it was like, well, that's exactly what he said it was.
Exactly.
You thought it was going to be some other shit. Like he was going to throw the ball off the backboard, catch it behind his back, and he's like, no, that's not what he did. No.
Man, chill over here talking about they did something mystical, bruh. Aaron Gordon would be a walking mythological creature in the 1980s.
I know
in the 1980s. Goodness gracious.
Eighth graders that can do that dunk right now.
I would love to see an 8th grader do that dunk.
Are you kidding me?
No warm-ups.
8th graders that can do that.
Chill. There's no way you're chill. There's no way you don't think 8th graders can throw the ball between the legs off the backboard of a first.
How big is this 8th grader?
What are you talking about? Chill, there are
6'1"
6'1", 13-year-olds that can throw between the legs off the glass and do
Show
a
it to me.
simple reverse.
Show it to me.
A reverse dunk.
Eighth graders been able to dunk. That's not no new shit. Like eighth graders
I'm trying to save him.
Bro, Mikey,
I'm not even talking about you. I'm talking about eighth graders. Eighth graders been dunking.
Chill. It had 100.
Come
no,
on,
you couldn't do
man.
that. You couldn't do that. Chill had
I ain't saying
120.
I could do that though. That's
It had 120,000 likes on
I could do
it.
that.
No, chill. You got real emotion. You my dog. Like I'm saying, you got real emotion. I just thought the clip was funny. That's it. I just want to talk about the
that
clip.
was
That's
a great
I
clip.
just want to
I'm
bring it
not
up. It was a
gonna
great
lie.
clip. It was a great clip.
I was glad I saw that
The reason why I
yesterday.
brought it up, the reason why I brought it up was because we were talking about athletes, and I'm comparing. I'm bringing up Kenny Smith as an athlete from the 1990s. I'm not saying that the athlete today isn't better. I'm not saying that because I think that athletes today are fantastic. But there were athletes, and if I let these dudes tell it, they sound like dudes. We had no athletes in the 1980s.
Y'all had a few.
We had no athletes in the 1980s.
They had athletes for sure.
Yeah, y'all had a few.
We had no
I
athletes.
was gonna say it's
back then.
a few.
Wait
They
a
had
minute.
athletes.
No, they had a
A
few.
guy like
He
Kenny
was
Smith
crazy.
was doing this, which means that we
Hey,
had
hey,
plenty
but
of
chill.
other athletes
Shout out
who were
Tom
better
Chambers.
than him.
Chill. Also, that dunk isn't a full representation of Kenny the Jet Smith.
No, it
They
is
called him
not.
the Jet for a reason. Kenny the Jet was coming through the lane, punching shit, fast breaks, punching shit.
Yes,
Like that
that's
wasn't
not
the
a-
only
Wait,
dunk.
Ron, who a better dunker, Kenny Smith or Von Wafer?
I mean, Von's way bigger though. So
No, he's not.
6'6".
Von's like 6'4".
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, Joe, that was my dog. That was my dog.
Why am I thinking
Huh?
about?
No, he played for the Lakers for a little bit too, but he wasn't good. He was a
He
high
was on the
school prodigy.
Celtics.
Von
Bro,
Wafer.
he played for a few people, bro. He was high school prodigy, bro.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I got thrown off the track, but that's why I brought that up because it sounds like it sounded the conversation we were having. It sounded like there were no athletes in the 80s. There were no athletes in the 90s.
Shoot.
These guys today are just this, and guys back then are like,
I'll take Kansas State, Larry Walker right now, or Bill Walker. Oh, right
Yeah,
now
Bill
over
Walker.
all them, over
So-
all of them, except for Dominique and Mike. That's it. Bill bang on anybody in the 1980s.
In the 10th grade, I could dunk the ball backwards. In the 10th grade, I could.
Okay, well, I did my MJ dunk at 14. Who are you? You ain't special.
All right, so we got new Hall of Famers.
I
Bale,
didn't do it though.
Multi-Kenny, Teddy Hart, Cheese, Minor, Jason Grills, and Worldwide Mace Television are all new YouTube members. Salute to them. Also, shout out to Mind Goblin. He became a new YouTube member, and he sent through a $20 super chat and said, "Suwoop Swiper is my favorite swiper skin."
Can't just be black and wear a bandana. Got to be associated with gang activity. It's crazy. It's crazy. Crazy world we live in. Man. Crazy world we live in. Man.
This is America, brother.
L stereotypes, man. L stereotypes, man.
Your Highness Charles said Jalen Brunson's defense is a serious concern. I always thought he was serviceable, but this Pacers series really showed he's a liability on it.
Okay, so this is the thing that I have. Like, why do we do this with players where a guy is a scorer and he's always been a scorer, but he run up on a really good defense, and now all of a sudden he's not a scorer? Does that mean that he's less just because he ran up on a great defense, he's no longer a scorer, or he's just less than against this team? Because if you think of Jalen Brunson, I ain't saying Jalen Brunson is an all-league defender, right? I ain't saying that Jalen Brunson on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being Drew Holiday and 1 being Luka, I ain't saying that he an 8 or a 9, but like he isn't terrible. Now, don't get me wrong, in this series, he has not been good, but he's been serviceable in the past. Why is all of a sudden just because
When has he been serviceable though?
okay, he was serviceable against Celtics. He wasn't terrible against Celtics as a defender.
Well, that's because their best player was taking step back threes on him.
So now we bailing him out on.
No, they did. Tatum could have got him out the
He
game.
was serviceable against Detroit.
I mean, they should have lost that series, but
And if Grandma had balls, she'd be Grandpa. We already been over this.
no,
already,
not
right?
in 2025.
We've already done this. The point is that we make the comparison with guys who they are good up until a point, and then when they run up on somebody else, all of a sudden they can't do this at all. Like, wait a minute, that's not true. That is just not true.
All right, y'all. Next super chat. Also, shout out to all the Grammys that do have balls.
Whoa.
Yaya Jalo, I think that's how you say his name. Or we'll just say Yaya. Yaya sent through a super chat and said, "Imagine the trash ass Sacramento Kings made the Eastern Conference Finals. You lit a beam for making a
How the
playoff.
hell we gonna? We're not reading that. How we gonna make the Eastern Conference Finals? This is over. It's over. It's over.
It's realignment.
Stupid ass. You don't even get your dumb ass super chat read now.
No, to be
Goofball.
fair, you did like the beam. You did like the beam for regular season and playing games. So he's right. He's right. He halfway cooked.
No. I'm not even acknowledge that. You can if you want to. Don't talk to me about it. If you're not gonna be geographically correct, you can't talk about it. So.
The Baller Shot Caller 1999 said, I always thought Rick was a good coach, but I also think he needed some time off coaching to refresh his tactics, and that's what he did.
Hey, yo, now to Ox's point, you know what I mean? Ox is my Mr. the first to the party type man. All right. Ox, maybe you had a point. All he had to do is get away from 77. All of a sudden his defense looks great, Ox.
Fucking told you.
Man.
I told you.
Rick Carlisle said, I'm out of here, man. I don't want nothing to do with this shit.
Kristaps had to go.
That was 100% part of it.
He was like, I don't want nothing to do with this dude. I'm out.
Nobody. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you.
I don't want nothing to do with
KP, Rick Carlisle, Jalen Brunson, the Mavericks.
Rick Carlisle,
everybody like
Brunson would have stayed though. They just didn't.
They tricked the bag on Brunson. They wanted
after he had to carry Luka big ass to the Western Conference Finals.
Well, Luka got hurt.
But when I said that in real time, everybody was mad at me. Like, we just watched it. We was on the panel. This was the Sunday Wednesday shows. I'm like, JB just carry Luka. Oh, and mind you, I'm not saying I thought JB was gonna be this level of basketball player today. I'm not saying I was early on that. All I'm saying is at least I thought JB had game. I'm like, he just carried Luka, the best player in the NBA, because that's what they were saying at the time.
And none of us. I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but I can honestly say that when Luka didn't play. I want to say the first 2 games or the first 3 games of that series against Utah. I had Dallas. I didn't think they had a chance in beating Utah when Luka went out, and the fact that they ended up coming up big in that series and beating Utah, that was huge. No doubt about it, that was huge.
And then Rudy Gobert be getting blamed all the time for nothing, by the way. But that's another story.
Look at Tim Hardaway, Swiper.
Brunson, Tim Hardaway. Who else? DFS,
KP,
for sure. Porzingis.
Rick Carlisle is a liberated man.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. You might be on to something. You know what
I'm saying? He was over there in Dallas. He couldn't believe it. See, but that's just the basketball guys getting back at him for what he did to Rajon Rondo, and now he had to get through that. And he went through the Luka Doncic thing, and he's stronger because of it. But he's a liberated man.
Your agenda. Sometimes you be cooking, water. But when you be cooking, bro, this is a 5-course meal sometimes. When you saw early too, bro.
I throw down, bro. I just grilled a rabbit last night, man. I don't play.
Did you catch the rabbit first? All right. Where you at? Will sent through a super chat and said, Chill was right. They tearing down Cat Bridges and Josh Hart posters and looking for trades.
No, New York, yo. I know these dudes, and they did the same thing to Julius Randle. They ran him out of town. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Nope, I'm not surprised at all. And Joe already made the point about this coming off season. What kind of trades are we looking at? I just don't see anything to be blockbuster. I think that they may change coaches, considering, Joe, in the last 5 years, and I think it's a curse, by the way, that Thibs was coach of the year, because I think every coach of the year in the last 5 years has gotten fired, every last one of them. And on top of that, to get this team to the Eastern Conference Championship, which hasn't happened in 25 years, and you're going to fire this guy, and you're going to end. I think you're going to end up turning into the Lakers, where now it's going to be that carousel like it was years ago when you had Jeff Hornacek, and we go from Jeff Hornacek to Derek Fisher to Jeff Hornacek to, like, you didn't have a consistent coach for 2 years. So I think when you have some stability, I think you're a better team. 100%.
They might need Mike Malone. I don't know. Mike Malone's a great coach. So
do you think they should try to explore a Kevin Durant trade?
For who?
If it means giving up Cat.
No.
I think y'all just gotta
giving up Cat. Nah, it will have to be. It really would have to be Josh Hart Bridges. That's the only way I would want to do it.
And by the way, Ron, to get KD back in New York on the Knicks, just so you know, the Knicks fan. We winning the NBA championship. We winning it. That's
I mean,
them.
They don't got no action at Devin Booker.
I don't think they have enough
For Brunson?
And they don't have all those 5 picks that they gave up for Mikal Bridges. They would need some of those to get him.
Mikel's on an expiring, so we'll see. I don't know if I feel too comfortable extending him to what he might want. He might want $40 million per year, and that's what OG got. So I don't know if I feel comfortable extending Mikel. He's too inconsistent for me.
He not worth $40 million.
Nope, he's not.
All right, yo, Ox, did you catch that rabbit?
Well, that's next year.
He doubled back.
So it's not a team option. It's not a player option. So he's under contract next year. Mikal is. He comes off the books after next year.
Cowboy Bob said Brunson hasn't been clutch. Need to use Pacome, Huck Porty, and Tyler that should play. Shaking my head. Love the haters. Keep up the hating. No new friends. Go New York, go.
Why am I a Knicks hater?
I didn't get
You're
that.
you're a Cowboy Bob hater.
Yeah,
I'm not a Cowboy Bob hater either.
Where's the motivation behind that, Swipe? Because
I don't have Knicks hate.
Is it because
I think this person, I'm not going to address him by his name, who's a great person. I hope he loves his family and all that. I think he wants to be my one buddy. I don't want a one buddy, so there will not be a nemesis for me. I've already dealt with one nemesis because he was.
You want a bunch of buddies?
No, I don't want a vision gang like for Jordan. I don't want a one buddy like Chill has. I don't have nemesis. I got rid of mine because he was body watching, and I called him out for body watching. It's been done ever since.
Sure, you
I don't want any
have a
body
nemesis?
watching. No, I don't.
You
Penn's not my
sure
nemesis
there's
either.
not somebody in the chat?
No, we both love film. We both love film. So no, this is a good friend.
Well, all right. 2 cents sent through $5 and said, did SGA even get his average in the playoffs? Brunson, Tatum, Cat, Hali, my stars elevate in the playoffs. I'm just saying.
Did that say?
Did
Has
SGA get
SGA
that?
hit his,
My
hit his-
goodness,
hit his average?
he's not averaging 33. He's averaging 31.
30.
Oh.
He's averaging 29. Relax.
So he's a playoff dropper.
I mean,
That's what they're gonna say, Joe.
Since he
Joe,
dropped,
I'm just saying, Joe. They're gonna say he's a playoff dropper. Get ready for it.
Yeah, hopefully the NBA Finals are going to boost up his stats, so he's going to finish off
oh
with
my
like
gosh,
averaging 33 or something in the playoffs.
they're gonna smoke the Pacers 4-1, and then we got to have these talk all summer.
Nah. It's not happening like that.
Alex Caruso can be the second best Thunder again. Everybody gonna be like, oh my god,
Could Shea average 35 in that series?
37.
Okay.
Almost 40?
I wouldn't. I mean, who's stopping him? Neesmith?
Donovan Mitchell did it over a five game.
He did.
He
The
averaged
first 3, I think he was like 41 and 7 or some nonsense.
He
like
was
that.
over the first 4 games, and then
Yeah.
game 5, he just didn't really have a good game.
He was destroying them, dude.
But Shea's also gonna get 11 free throws.
Y'all different.
That series too. Like, so
People don't like give Don his respect. Don different.
He is, yo.
I heard he was sweet just the other day.
I don't listen to those rumors.
I wouldn't either.
DSG Piccolo said Haliburton in full effect. Let him know, Ron. Woo! They said he's 3rd all time in games with 15 assists and 0 turnovers, behind CP3, who has 2, and Stockton, who has 1.
That's crazy, yo.
wait, did Buddy get banned, Chill?
I don't know nothing about that. We're talking basketball in here. Come on, man. Let's go. I don't care about none of that.
Speaking of your one, buddy, Swiper, Cowboy Bob said, drop the link, and I will tell y'all, I ain't no goddamn buddy. We can talk that talk, but you don't. It ain't beef. I don't agree with your takes towards the Knicks.
I said the Knicks would lose the series or losing the series. I mean, they did their job.
Is it you being critical of Thibs? Because you have been
I think
critical
that's what
of
it
Thibs.
was. I don't think he's a top whatever coach, but why? So if I don't think Doug Christie's a top 10 coach in the league, should Ox press me about that? Is that worth it?
Hell yeah.
Yes.
I won't, because I don't know if he's top 10 either. He's probably not, but he'll get there one day. We got time.
He'll get there one day.
Patty Mahomes got next, sent through a super chat and said, respect to Indy on the finals. They earned it. My takeaway, the East is food next season. Get me Zion in Detroit and let's play ball.
That's
Zion, Cade, and a sword.
The series ain't over yet. The series is not over yet.
Hey, Chill, how much money you got on the series?
I don't have none. I got no dough on the series. $0. I got no dough on the series.
I got a little something on the series, right, Joel?
Yeah, I got,
we got
two bets on the series. I got this. I got to wear this Haliburton shirt, and then I also bet on FanDuel for me. And it's not going too well for the Knicks making the finals.
Yeah.
Oh, because that's right. You hit on the one bet and then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When did you take it?
To start the series.
Oh, that's when you take the finals bet?
Yeah, no, actually, no. The Knicks finals, I did it after we won game 2 against the Celtics.
So
that's when I did it.
Still had good odds.
Yeah, it was like plus 550. And I was like, yeah, this should be good. We should get past Indiana.
Ron, so if the Knicks in fact do end up losing this series, you're gonna send y'all a Pacers shirt to wear, or just Joe can pick any? Okay,
we already agreed on it. We have the shirt already picked out.
Oh, okay.
No.
You knew they was
going. Had the shirt picked out.
Oh,
I don't really like that shirt too much. I think we can make it a little more, entertaining,
team oriented.
Oh no,
the bullshit.
Oh no, Joe.
But
Joe, don't wear that outside, bro. Don't wear it outside.
I also do want to let everybody know that Game 5 tonight in OKC, we will not be at the game, but we'll be watching the game, and we will be on Playback. So y'all be sure to pull up. OKC versus the Timberwolves later tonight, Game 5. We'll see y'all there. All right, we got a few more super chats. I got one from DSG Piccolo. He corrected me. He said, Ron, CP3 is second and Stockton is first, not how many they have. So there you go with 15 assist games with 0 turnovers.
Yep.
Shout out Hali. Cowboy Bob, Swiper's one buddy, said, stop this. Fire sale, stop this fire sale, stand on business. Swiper folded. He didn't say anything when I was asking him, but now he's a specialist on the Knicks. Laughing my ass off. Go New York, go.
What I'm still not understanding what exactly your problem was with him, though, Bob. Like, what was your issue with him?
Chill. The problem, Chill, is that Swiper was talking spicy, talking real hot about Tom Thibodeau.
That's what I thought it was.
Knicks.
I was just
Bob, no, hold on, Bob put up the Swiper front door, and Swiper wanted to be all friendly about it, and now Bob just want to know what's up.
So why do I have to create fake conflict with another black man? Think about that.
How you know he black?
Jay,
because I seen him, I saw his face, and he was mad. I didn't know. They thought, and Ox and them thought I was trying to big dog him when I didn't know who he was. I legit had never seen him before. So he gets on the chill. That is every Saturday, 12 p.m. by the way, and soon to be 4 on what time?
Thursday at 4.
Thursday at 4. Great show, by the way. Big fan of the show. You know what I mean? And I think that my trolling of said show and name has also upped the numbers, I hope. So shout out to you all. But I also want to say that I came on there. I was making brunch. I was cooking. I wasn't even in the mode to be arguing. I'm really making.
You got our numbers up.
I was making pancakes. You know what I mean? I was making some bacon. I was chilling. Big chilling.
Swiper think he a Drake feature for real?
Drake? No, I ain't Drake. Hey, yo, no. Hey, Ox, 07 Wayne, though? I'm really.
All right, y'all. We got another $100 super chat from a guy named Arch. My bad. A goat named Arch. A goat named Arch said, pour one out to Buddy. Dude stood on business till the end.
I don't even know that was. When did this happen, Ron? You know this. You're the man behind the scenes, bro. That's hilarious.
I feel sorry for that.
Well, chill. You still got Mike.
He went out bad.
In the words of my man Ice Cube,
we'll call it out for him.
In the words of my man Ice Cube, call y'all. A last one of y'all.
Hasbuel Brown said Thibs getting out coached should put Joe Mazzulla in the hot seat
for winning a title 1 year later.
No.
What does that have to do anything?
No.
Because Joe Mazzulla got out coached by Thibs.
I guess
that's basically what he's saying. So since Thibs is looking bad, it makes Joe Mazzulla look even worse.
Joe Mazzulla gets out coached by everybody. He's had a superior team, and they just
see. Mars is in the chat trying to see what Swiper said about Hali and SGA.
It was just a conversation, and the poll was about what something Ron said, mind you. But shouts.
I mean, we all knew this was gonna happen. Like all of a sudden, Tyrese is gonna be the best player in the NBA.
I agree.
Shout out to the best player in the NBA.
I mean, that's kind of how it works if you win titles.
Facts.
All right.
The baller shot caller said, for example, do y'all think Bud's system would have worked if he had better players with the Suns?
When?
This
Like
year.
this year?
Yeah, this season. What is his system exactly? What exactly is Bud's system?
Beats me.
Man, what exactly is his system? I know that Giannis gets the ball off the glass. Giannis goes with it. His system defensively is he leaves guys on islands by themselves. So, I mean, I don't know exactly.
Bud is just a Giannis merchant. Maybe it's just that.
Well, I think defensively, the drop coverage stuff that he does, I think he had made a criticism that he would not make adjustments based on his personnel and the lack of it. And so he got fired in part because of that.
Jeffrey Endo with the interesting super chat. Jeffrey said, people forget that the Celtics players said the Pacers series was the toughest matchup, and that includes the finals. And people are surprised by this. Yeah, well, the Celtics should just be lucky we didn't have to kick their ass this year.
Didn't they sweep them dudes?
Yeah, but Hali missed those 2 games, and they averaged like they
swept them though, right?
Yeah, but they argued because they couldn't stop their offense even without Hali. They were scoring at will.
Well, I'm sure they didn't argue it, Swipe. I'm sure they weren't trying to convince anybody. Like, no, I swear, I promise, it was the Pacers. They were the best team. I'm pretty sure it wasn't all that. You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, they swept them, you know.
You Runnings 5.7 said, anyways, like I said, Pacers in 5, Pacers in 6 versus OKC. PSA, every team 34 lost to went to the finals. That 34 is the best player in the world, named Giannis Antetokounmpo. Hashtag, we leave him with something. Can Joker say the same thing?
No, he doesn't get held to that stupid standard.
Got it. Okay.
First round exit in 5 games. Go ahead.
Hunter sent through a super chat and said 7 out of the 15 games this playoffs. Shea's been mid or bad, by the way.
Most of that is just the first round.
Yeah.
What is that based on though? Bad in what way?
He's saying the scoring stuff.
Because he didn't score a bunch of points. Okay.
Yeah.
Nah,
that's a great way to look at basketball, yeah.
4 of those games
he scored points. He shot bad. Like
4 of those games are definitely the first round. So that's like what, 7 of the 11 games?
3.
How many of those 7 games did they lose again?
He had a great game 4 versus Memphis.
Yeah, so 3. So 7 for 12. I mean, that's not bad.
Man, Memphis sorry as hell. He didn't have to do nothing. He was just chilling.
They smoked them dudes. Get them dudes out of here. He
He
ain't had to play in that one game. I wouldn't have brought him back when they beat him by almost 40.
I'm not counting the Memphis series, but
he ain't had to play in that game.
John didn't get hurt. He would have took him 6.
John talking about I had them figure out.
He did. That game he did. That game he was dominating. Bro.
Yeah, I don't count the Memphis series.
He was getting off though. He was getting off.
One game he was dominating.
I don't count the Memphis series for Shea.
Me neither.
What?
I overlook it.
What?
I don't
we don't count that, Swiper. We overlook that.
I'm overlooking it.
I'm with
It didn't happen in my eyes. I'm just gonna use the numbers after the second round.
That is selective politics. Right
second round to now, that's the only numbers I look at with Shea.
Can't wait for Hali to have a bad play or bad finals, so I can say the same thing.
I'm only looking at the first 3 rounds.
Always selling sock. Said, why is everyone acting like Trey didn't average 29.2 points and 10.2 assists in the 23 playoffs with a worse team?
And don't leave out the 10 turnovers he had in game 1 and game 2 combined.
Who?
That part out. Yeah, don't leave that part out.
Sure, we're not looking at game 1 and game 2.
Who?
Sure
Who are you talking about?
Sure you're not. Trey Young. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
Selective picking of games is going to be an interesting strategy going forward.
They opened up a new can of worms for you.
I'm throwing out all the Tatum games where he shot below 45%.
So I could pick the games I only want to talk about.
All right, fellas,
run through a
last
long
but not
list.
least.
He already do that for Swipe. He already do that for Jokic all the time.
I don't. I held him accountable for what he did.
Yes, you do.
I already held him accountable for why they didn't get out the second round. We're going to revisit this thing. Ox, you don't get to stand on nothing. All right, Mr. Beam.
I stand on you.
Listen over Hali. You ain't standing on nothing.
Stand on you.
I'm gonna hit me up just like somebody else did. Ron, you too. You over here looking crazy.
All right. Last super chat of the day is from K Nicole. K said, I think Siakam's shot creation and getting to the basket with his wingspan will make the biggest difference for the Pacers. Talking about in the finals?
This series ain't over yet. They still got to beat the Knicks.
They do.
All right, y'all. Well, it's been an amazing show. It's been a wonderful show, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Yo, Joel, where can we find you at?
Find me at Pick a Side and at Joel V. Moran on Twitter and on TikTok and on Instagram. That's where you can find me.
Go do that. Yo, my man, Jay, where you located at?
Yes,
I'm in Hackensack.
Where can Arch find you?
You can find. He said Arch.
Oh, my bad. I thought
Arch,
you said
yeah.
Jay to me. My goodness, I'm all over the place.
It's all good. Arch, if you're looking for us, man, check us out. Stoner Sports Network on IG, TikTok. You can check me out on Twitter, JAY_3 Shifty. Check us out on YouTube. We got everything going, man. And check out our website, stonersportsnetwork.com too. Cop some merch, man. Get it
Past that.
Get it out the net, baby.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. Y'all know what it is. Make sure to pull up the playback later tonight, and we will catch y'all when we catch y'all.
Later.